Hello, good afternoon or good evening or good morning to you wherever you are in the world, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. Thank you all for taking the time to come along and join us today on this flight. Today we are taking our A321 Manta Airlines retro livery from Nuremberg, where we last left it unbelievably over a month ago now, which is a bit outrageous. So it's definitely time we get back in the Toliss. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. And we're going to take it over to Riga. We're going to head up to Riga. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Not somewhere we've been before on the channel. We're going to use live weather. I am, of course, on VATSIM, so if you want to fly along, that is available. I've just realised I probably haven't put the route into the cloud bot, but it is in the Discord for those of you on the Discord if you want to fly along. Thank you all for taking the time to come along today. It's great to see you all here. Chickpoint, thanks for coming. Fly24, I hope you're doing well. And Dave N, good to see you here. Wired Womble, thank you for coming along. Wired Womble is, I believe, the same Wired Womble who's responsible for this ground livery. So, yeah, we've got a few new liveries to enjoy today. So do, of course, put on your sunglasses, which is always standard operating procedure when you're coming to watch one of our live streams, especially with a custom livery. But, yeah, so thanks for coming along. Dougal, thanks for coming. And moderating, great to see you here. I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, I agree, I do enjoy the polished liveries. Victor Tango, thanks for coming along as well, and Richard V, good to see you all here. Ollie Nut and Kai, great to see you guys, thanks for joining us. Jay Singh, I hope you are doing well. We've got loads of chat going on, so I do apologise if I missed anything. Marcel Dupree, good to see you here as always. And yeah, Fly Sky Airways, great to have you. And who else have we got? eBoss, great to see you. I'm glad you like livery as well. SB, Lauren V, good to see you as well. And Dave Geimer, Sven, Alan Story, fantastic to see you all here. And I hope you are all doing very well this fine afternoon. It is, of course, pouring with rain where I am in the UK, which is a bit of a shame. I thought by mid-May we'd be back. I mean, this time last year we were streaming in just beautiful sunshine, and it seemed a bit of a shame to be inside, but no longer the case. Matteo Chewy, thanks for coming to moderate as well. Great to see you. Tom Corwine responsible for this livery, if it's the same Tom Corwine from Discord. Of course, this is Paddy's livery, and Tom Corwine went to, I believe, exceptional effort to make this work on the X-Plane Toliss. So we're going to take a look at that and see some of the tricks. Mr. Espresso, good to see you. I hope you are doing well as well. Right, I'm way behind. Hayden J. Robin, Santiago, good to see you. Digital and Takis, good to see you back in Crete. Our friend in Crete, I'm always very jealous. So yeah, thank you guys for coming along. Alexander Beck, good to see you as well. Alexander says, today near Nuremberg we had heavy hail followed by heavy rain. During that, winds up to 55 knots. Now they're blue skies. Yeah, so that's strange because I loaded into the sim and I had rain on the windows, but then looking up overhead, this sort of nice blue sky, I wasn't sure it had loaded properly, but sounds like it's doing a good job of representing that then, which is great to know. Lauren V says, now the better question, how long do we brew tea? I've probably had this travel while going for over half an hour unsipped. That's all right. I brew tea for as long as I need to. I have been known to microwave tea that I've left brewing so long it's gone cold, so don't worry about that. Simon Schmidt, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Right, I do apologise if I've missed anyone, but we must get going with the stream. Guru, there you go, Guru, good to see you. Right. Yes, there we go, Wild Womble. No problem at all, Wild Womble. So Wild Womble put together the ground handling deluxe livery. So if you go to ground handling, it took me ages to find it, but here it is, liveries, and you can choose Manta if you have it installed. And yeah, we'll take a look at that. So let's zoom around the aeroplane. And of course, Tom Corwine did this livery. We know Paddy designed it. Obviously, fantastic job. But Tom has put a lot of work because it's not easy. It is not easy. You have to make this on 2D, and to get the reflection is something that's really impressive. And it looks suspiciously like it is a real reflection. I haven't tested it out much, I must confess. So here's the ground services. Not many airlines have their own ground services these days. It's remarkably rare. Even if you see it painted up in the right airline, it's probably run by a different company these days. But yeah, there we go. So SimPilot 320 Manta Ground Services. We've got it over here on the bus using the retro livery. Sort of kept its that Manta design has kept its theme. We've also got the website, which I really like, and the channel sort of watermark there on the window. Absolutely brilliant. And I've loaded in all the vehicles that are included. So here we go. We've got the crew bus, which is great. Ground services. It's just a fantastic job. Great to see it. I did originally have a thumbnail that used, we had a picture basically like this with all the ground services on the airplane, but it was just too much pink and blue on the screen. You couldn't see it. You couldn't read the writing or where we were going. So we had to abandon that one. But I promise I did try. Yeah, so There we go. It's fantastic. I'm not sure if this has been added to any websites for everyone to download or not. I must confess, I did forget to ask. So it is a real reflection, says Tom Corwine. So we better not look straight at it or you'll see what I look like. So let's duck underneath. You can duck underneath the Airbus, but if you do, you have to be really careful. If the air conditioning packs are running, they blast hot air out around up here. This is a drain mast, or there is a drain mast that it does occasionally cause problems. And there's also a drain of the water. So if you walk around, it's nearer the front actually, but if you go underneath while there's a toilet service being done, there's a risk of being blasted with water. It is fresh water, luckily. It doesn't blast sewage out at you, but yeah, I've been hit with that before. Right, so over here, so it should, yeah, look at that. You can see the stairs and everything. Unbelievable. That is an amazing effect, and I really didn't know that was possible in X-Plane. So that's great to see what you guys are capable of. Manta fuel as well. So again, chances of seeing your own airline as a fueler as well. Brilliant. But thanks, Tom Corwine. Yeah, thanks for that information. Yeah, fantastic. We'll enjoy the livery when we get going. I just need to we'll enjoy the ground vehicles while we're here. We've got our caterers, and there is, I believe, yeah, there we go. We got our baggage loader as well. And I don't think this baggage loader is customized at all. I think this is pretty standard, but I probably missed it if it is. Oh yeah, you can see the reflections on there. Goodness me. So yeah, looking absolutely fantastic. And yeah, this is this nice dark aluminium brushed style for the wings. Absolutely love it. Right, so there we go. The airplane is in a sort of half ready state. Its IRSs are aligned. It's effectively on a turnaround again. So here you go. Here's a bit of a close up of the detail on the actual cockpit. The fuselage. So it's all looking really nice, and you can start to see a bit of a giveaway of what's going to be inside when we get inside. Oh dear, can you imagine? Wouldn't that be great fun? Anthony, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Right, let's head over here. Hayden J. Robbins says the hold is rather dirty and smelly today, mainly due to passengers. Yeah. Well, luckily you can all fit in the cabin. We've got 188 of you. This plane can easily take a good 100. Well, 200. I think this is one of the heaviest flights we're going to do. Right, let's jump inside. That would be great, wouldn't it? Imagine this happening for real. There you go. Love the line down the windows. Makes it, the 321 always looks long when you get on board, but yeah, that really only improves it. And look at this. I haven't seen this done before. So yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Can you imagine? And there's Manta Airlines written at the front. Lovely. A nice blue, so sort of a pink when you look down the cabin and a blue when you look forwards, which is nice. So you wouldn't get too much of a headache if you sat there for the whole flight with that nice blue. But yeah, there we go. Right, let's get ourselves sat down, comfortable. Like I say, plane is raining, but it's almost ready to go. And we're going to get ourselves up and running. There should be Manta branded meals. We haven't decided what they are. Probably Viennese whirls will be served at some point in the flight and a cup of tea. But there we go. Oh yeah, unless you're in the hold, as Richard says, rat surprise with rat crumble. Oh goodness me. No, this is not the new updated one. This is still this has not been updated like the 319. Nope. Glad you like it, Anthony. Yeah, Paddy's design, and again, amazing work by Tom Corwine to make this a reality in X-Plane. Not easy, no way. It looks absolutely fantastic. Will the toilet seat be magenta? Chick point. Yeah, good question. We'll have to customize the Beluga for a nice a nice magenta toilet in there as well. Eva approaches here. Excellent, Misfit. Good to see you. Waiting for your group. Expecting vectors. Will do. Yeah, we've got a bit of extra fuel on board. Right. So let us jump into the where was I? Right. So anyway, the overhead flow is pretty much done. We're aligned. We're on the ground power, and we are fueled up. Spirit Wings. Oh goodness me, Spirit Wings. Thank you so much for that $50 donation. Incredibly generous. My goodness. Thank you so much, Spirit Wings. Really appreciate it. Spirit Wings says, first time catching you live after a year of watching your videos. I can't fly today, but wanted to say thanks for all the amazing content. I've learned so much from watching. Cheers from the US, and here's to a more positive year for everyone. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Spirit Wings, that's incredibly generous. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along today, and I'm glad you've been enjoying the videos over the last year. It's really too generous, but thank you so much. And yeah, I hope you get to fly along with us at some point soon. But yeah, thank you for the donation. Thanks for helping support the channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. That's just incredibly generous. Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you're doing well over in America. I think that things sound pretty positive in America. Hopefully things can improve in Europe pretty quickly. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And Pol9, thanks so much for your €5 donation. Really appreciate it, Pol9. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Very, very kind of you. And Pol9 says, I'm from Riga. Have a nice flight too. Thanks so much, Pol9. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad we're going to Riga then. It's you know, we got to try out a few different destinations, and Riga definitely qualified. So yeah, thanks so much, Pol9, for that. Really appreciate it, and thanks for supporting the channel so much. And yeah, of course, Spirit Wings, thank you again for that $50 donation. So kind of you. Glad the videos have helped you out. Goodness me. Right. Let us jump into getting ready. So the reason I've got the airplane powered up is because this is one of the longer routes we've done, and I try to avoid having you guys sit there watch me type in a route because I get it wrong about 10 times while we do that. So we're going to go from well, let's do the whole flow though. So aircraft status, I think this is the current cycle. The real airplane shows you dates there, so it's very easy to work out if you're on the right date. Idle and per factors as well, which some airlines will fiddle around with. Init A, we're going from Nuremberg to Riga. Alternate, the alternate is not where we're realistically going to go, but it's not even a good fuel alternate actually. It's quite a long way away. So we got Uniform Mike Golf, which is Rodna. But yeah, we're going to swap that out for one that's probably a bit closer. And there we go. There is our flight plan for Manta 275, which is our expected route today. Cruising 330, we're pretty heavy for takeoff, so we're starting with that. I might try and sneak a bit higher. We'll see what the performance page says when we get going. Flight plan then, here it is. So expecting a runway 28 departure via Echo Romeo Lima. And there it is. It's a long old route. It was really, Simbrief was showing up some really complicated routes today. So that ends at Ascot, which is our arrival point for Riga. So that's all looking good. Secondary. Going to copy that active over into there. I haven't got anything too exciting to do with the secondary though. If we have a look at the departure, it's pretty straightforward. Out via Nuremberg from runway 28 and then up towards the ERL, Erlangen VOR. So pretty traditional, not even an RNAV for once. So debating what would the advantage be here. We could, what could we put in the secondary? Probably in the secondary flight plan for this sort of departure, no emergency turn, no serious terrain around. Although the MSA is 3,800 the whole way around, yeah. Because the elevation, I think Nuremberg is 1,000 feet up. There we go. So what I'm going to do is just from ERL, then I'm going to put the new destination back to EDDN. Don't need to activate it or anything because it's a secondary, so it'll just be in there. And now I can put EDDN arrival, and I'll put in the RLS 28 Zulu. And there we go. Shouldn't have to insert it in the secondary. Let me just check that I am fiddling with the secondary before I mess this up. EDDN arrival RLS 28. Yeah, it should just work. It doesn't need it because you don't have to confirm things in the secondary. But there we go. Maybe that's a limitation of the simulator. And there is just checking we still got our route. Yeah, we do to Riga. Daniel Petson, thanks so much for your 100 sec donation. Really appreciate it. Really kind, Daniel. Thanks for coming along and supporting the channel as always. And oh no, we're going to find out that we're not allowed to do this one. Prop aircraft. This always happens. Right, there you go. I need to change all of that then. Daniel, thanks so much for that 100 sec donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind. And Daniel says, loved your Microsoft Flight Simulator landing challenge video. Like all your other content. Thank you for an amazing channel. You're really very welcome, Daniel. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. I do mix it up a bit. I can't believe I need to check these SIDs earlier. Yeah, but I do try to mix it up a bit with the landing challenges and so on. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I've got a few more variety videos I might start calling them to come. So yeah, looking forward to that. But thanks so much, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your support and thanks for coming along to the channel today. Yeah, this is getting silly now. Simbrief never seems to acknowledge this, and it's my fault. I should check these more closely, but I tend to just file the flight plan and then go from there. So we're going to get told off by a traffic control. We need to find another northerly departure. So let's talk to a traffic control. They can tell us off, and then they'll tell us which one we can have. Hold on, is there a traffic control? This is all crumbling. No, there's not. Oh, well, we could just fly that then, couldn't we? Couldn't we? There's no overview page. That's to the south. We won't do that. I'm so sorry, everyone. This has happened before. That's to the south, obviously. There you go. Should we go to Ureto? Can we get there? That looks more reasonable. Similar fuel burn. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do this one. So that's going to be the 7 kilo. Thanks for the great spot. Well done, guys. I do apologise. Oh, no. What am I doing? 2.8. Flight plan. Okay, how does that look? And then we can pick up where we want to take it from. So we'll take it to Areto, which was actually on our airway, you see. So that's perfect. So it's going to Areto and then Kuluk. And you see, perfect. I love it when that happens. An easy fix. Easy fix. Put constraint on. So then we can just go back and insert. And it's done. Oh, I do like the Toliss. Look at that. Just a joy. Yeah, so when the Airbus recognises that you're going to intercept an airway later on, it will actually know that you're rejoining your flight plan. It's very clever. So that's great. That's all done. Thanks for the spot. Great. And thank you again, Daniel Pedersen, and of course, Pol9, and of course, Spirit Wings for your very, very kind donations. Really, really appreciate it. Right. Ollie Nat says, I'm doing the Toliss 3 kilo. Oh, well, we'll all do what we want. Good. That is done. Right, where was I? Oh, yeah. So secondary. Copy the active again. Because there's no point having the other departure in it. Scroll back. There it is. And I think Babav would be far enough to go. EDDN. And then putting our ILS back here so that we are ready in case we need to be. Okay, right. Let's move on before we find out what else we're doing wrong there. Radnavs. Now, this is what the fly-by-wire one is always missing, which is simply the auto-tune. It does show you these frequencies all the time. So anyone who's watching the channel who doesn't use X-Plane or the Toliss, just so you know, that is a more typical picture of the Radnav page. It will load in what it knows. So it will even load in the ILS for the part. Oh, stop clicking on it. Why am I keep clicking on it? Right, there we go. Out runway 28. It's loaded in the Nuremberg Uniform Bravo VOR. So this is why when you see me not bothering to tune nav aids, it's not because I don't think we need them. It's just because it nearly will always tune the most appropriate ones unless there's some really critical reason to do it. Like I need it for an emergency turn procedure or something. Anyway, out to 11.3, then right 038 to Babav, and then incept up to Areto. This is presumably an RNAV. No, not quite. No, okay, fair enough. Simon Schmidt, thanks so much for your 5-year donation. Really appreciate it. Simon says, a flight with Manta Airlines makes the rainiest days feel sunny. Thanks, as always, for the stream, Captain. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, Simon. Thanks so much for coming along. Thanks for bringing your... yeah, it's great to have this positive energy in the room. I really appreciate it. It makes such a big difference to my week as well when I get to do these streams and chat to you guys. So thank you, and thank you for that donation. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel, Simon. As always, long-time supporter of the channel. So yeah, thank you for coming along, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it works out. We had a bit of an interesting arrival, I remember, into Nuremberg. Anyway, that is it. So yeah, so thank you again, Simon. Really, really kind of you. So that's the departure. Stop altitude, flight level 70. Let's put that in. No air traffic control to contend with, so flight level 70. Radnav, init B time. Let's bring up the ISCS. Right. Remember, fill the screens. It's much easier to fill the screens. No, I definitely did this already. I want a zero fuel rate of around 70 tons. Oh, it's very strange. I wonder what's happened. So we're going to get 205 passengers on today. Excellent. So we're going to apply that. 10.4. We need 9.4. So we're going with an extra ton. But we know that there could be a delay, especially with the big groups. So what we might do, that's a ton extra. With that terrible alternate, we're going to pick a different alternate when we get underway. So actually, that should be more than enough. So zero fuel weight is 69, so 70 tons. Zero fuel CG 27.4. In that goes. Block fuel. And we don't take it from there ever. We're going to take it from our actual fuel, 10.4, and that way you can't hopefully load this up without realizing that you haven't got the fuel you wanted. 10.4 gives an 80.2 takeoff weight, landing at 75.3, an all-round heavy flight. Taking off from runway 28, let's just check. I'm just going to check the weather here, actually, just to make sure that 28 is definitely in use, seeing as we've got some strange effects going on. Yep, 2805. Yeah, pretty light, but SOURs and CBs. Okay, all good. So, probably a typical flat 1 takeoff then. So, 1+F, V1, sorry, flaps 1, flex 2, 36. Wow, that's a lot of thrust. So, yeah, it was pushing it. We're definitely pushing it. And we're going to use 150. There's a serious V1 here, so we could see a lot of the runway like this. 156, 159. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how well the Toliss performance works out. 232 clean speed. Which is pretty reasonable. Again, we are heavy, so would expect that. The 321 can go much heavier, of course. We haven't even got the auxiliary tanks or anything like that in use today. So yeah, we could go up to 18 tons before we even add those. We're not doing that departure anymore, so I'll get rid of that one. Any speed limits? Right, from runway 28, 9, 10 right. No, all is good. There's no really sharp turns, you see, so it's not unlikely to have a speed issue. 250 knots per 100. Oscar Lamprecht, thanks so much, Oscar, for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it, Oscar. That's very kind of you. Oscar said, I wish a good day, night, and flight to everyone. Thanks for coming, Oscar. Thanks again to you for supporting the channel so much, and good to see you here. And yeah, thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Very generous, as always. And I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for coming along. The overlay. Oh, I've done it again. I feel like I carefully set it up before. What happens is I have to restart the overlay software when I swap simulators. So this usually happens when I change sim. So the last one was Flight Simulator, but that's not an excuse, because I have also messed it up anyway. Right, thanks so much. But thank you again, Oscar. I really appreciate it. Right, Manta 275. Okay, the overlay should be waking up then. Okay, right. Joel says, how do you know when to use flaps 1 or 2 for takeoff? With that low flex, I would use 2 probably. Yeah, it wouldn't be unreasonable to just decide to go for a 2. But you know, it should tell you. It will tell you if it's not possible. Put it that way. So let's imagine we had 18 tons of fuel on. Would that then recalculate for us? Well, it didn't even work. But yeah, I've had it tell me that's not possible. So it does know. It does take into account the weather. The Toliss team have done a fantastic job on this. Let's just check the speeds again. 150, 156, 159, flap 1. And we're going flex 36. The thing is, in a 321, the flexes will be lower anyway. They're all lower. It doesn't go up to flex 69 or 70 like the 320 does. So yeah, you can expect it to be lower. So it's not quite as shocking as it first sounds. Just check we've definitely applied all those. Right, good. So that is the MCDU done. There's our departure. We've looked through it. We're ready to do it. Let's get that QNH in. QNH is low, 1004. Looking for about 1,000 feet on the PFD. 1004. There we go, 1,000 feet. All looking good. Speeds have loaded in. All the doors are open. But other than that, this is starting to come together. Let's go up here and start up that APU. Fueling's done. Get the passenger signs on. Check our fuel tanks all balanced. Good. Fire up the APU. Otherwise, I think everything's in place. Let's jump outside and say goodbye to our fantastic ground crew. So yeah, brilliant work by Wild Womble on the ground handling stuff. So we'll have them drive away ceremoniously. We won't just make them vanish into thin air. Fantastic. Oh well, our doors are going to stay open though. That's the only problem here. So Lauren V said, I thought we flew the Zebo last for some reason, but this livery on the Zebo would look magnificent. Yeah, it would be good on the Zebo, wouldn't it? Yeah, imagine a chrome Zebo. This is strange. Ah, look at that, the way it's just going up. I've never noticed that before. Is that because of the way the wind is? How interesting. Anyway, yeah, it would be good if we could get this on the Zebo, and I'd love to see it on the Beluga as well. I'd love a Manta Beluga livery. I think that would be fantastic. Not sure which livery would work, although we do already have brushed aluminium or metal versions of the Beluga out there, so maybe there's one that can be adjusted. Right. Hayden J. Robbins says, excuses? Yeah, plenty. Lauren V says, the 321 NEO's go up a bit higher. 60 isn't too uncommon. Flat 1 with the Pratt & Whitneys. Ah, there you go. Yeah. It's just an engine-related thing. So these engines are rated to higher thrust, even though they're the same, the IEV 2500s. These are the same as you'll get on the 320 and 319, but they are rated to go a bit higher. There is a theory that airlines that have several of these, if your airline has the 18, 19, 20, 21, then you should put the engines on the 21, wear it out a bit until it's not ready to go to full thrust, and then just put it onto the smaller ones and derate it slightly. I have no idea if that's true. Right. Good. Right, that's all moved away. We'll get rid of those. Things are coming together. We'll let the APU warm up a bit just before we do the air conditioning, but we can get rid of the ground power, and let's close up the doors. I wish there was an all button, just close all, it would be nice. And then it goes all quiet. Hear the yellow electric pump? That yellow electric pump noise, I don't know if you guys can hear that. That came on because we're closing the cargo door. Close the door there. Yeah, the Toliss is excellent. It's great to be back in the Toliss. I've been really enjoying it. Just fantastic. The Greek Badger, good to see you. The Greek Badger said a Manta Beluga with chrome would look like the Super Guppy livery. Yeah, it would, exactly. Yeah. Dear. Right. Let us figure out where we're parked, just in case the traffic has come online. We're on stand 15. This is where we left it after our eventful arrival. You guys will remember we came into Nuremberg. We got in trouble with air traffic control. Did we get in trouble? I think that was the day. We did get in trouble with air traffic. And then we... let's go into Unicom. We got in trouble with air traffic control. And then we had a bit of a rough landing, which is always the way. If you have a slightly stressful approach, you'll definitely have a rough landing. Right, 1228 over there. I noticed the fly-by-wire team have made it so that even in cold and dark, the radio panels are turned on, which is more realistic. The Toliss still doesn't, or Toliss seems to be the other way around for now. Right, let's get that tug connected. We're obviously going to go over here. Oh, wow, the queue is ready. So, we'll do that.
Call me through the menu when you're ready.
Do please hit the like button if you're enjoying the video. Thank you all for coming along, and thank you to those of you who've kindly already done the like. I really appreciate it. Right, been a couple of minutes. Let's get the AP bleed on and run our checklists. So before start checklist, cockpit prep is completed for both of us. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs are on and auto. ADs are in nav. Fuel quantity, we got our 10.4 tons and balance. And if we go to our fuel prediction page, it shows us with extra fuel. Our flight plan page should show the arrival of fuel. Oh, it's not showing us yet. Interesting. It's got a save option. They've been changing a few things here. These MCDUs are full of different options for different airlines, of course. Anyway, takeoff data is set, and I'll make sure it is set in here, which is it is, and barrier F on 1004. Let us check who's behind. Where's the tug gone? Where is the tug? Nuremberg traffic, Manta 275, stand 15, pushing back to face east. Because we're currently facing south, so we're going to face east. Yes. What does fix info do? Says the Harmony. Fix info is going to allow me to draw a ring around something. So flight plan, select, fix info. This is almost as good as the progress page. So we'll put in the airport here, and I can put a 25-mile ring as a radius, for example. Now if we zoom out, you'll see that I've drawn a nice ring. Helps me know where the minimum safe altitudes are, or I could draw a radial out if I wanted. For example, what would that be? The 200 radial. There it is. Just useful if you're trying to stay within certain lines. Especially useful for terrain. What have I done wrong? Why won't my... Oh, I see. I pre-planned. I didn't connect to the tug. It's been a while. You can see how long it's been. So hopefully this Lufthansa will go. There we go. There's another Lufthansa departing. It is busy. This is one of the busier ones. And luckily I'm at the back of the queue, which is always appropriate. Guru Ken, thanks for coming along, and yeah, enjoy your evening. Sorry it's a bit late for you guys. Victor Tango says that traffic controller was a bit on the passive aggressive side, and in my opinion you didn't do anything wrong. It was entirely so. Yeah, they were obviously very busy when that happened. Parking brake is set. Yeah, I mean they were running an event and we arrived, and I genuinely didn't know they were running an event when we were planning to arrive. It was pure coincidence. It was quite funny, but yeah, we was that the one? Anyway, I can't remember now. It was so long ago, but either way, it wasn't great. I mean, I should have probably contacted the first controller, but basically, for those of you who didn't see, we checked in with a controller while downwind because no one contacted us to call them, so we just chose a controller, and then they obviously in their mind had a different plan to what we would do from what we had, because maybe they thought we'd already spoken to one of the other controllers and were given downwind heading as opposed to a star. That's probably what happened there. But there we go. Thanks, Nighthawk. Good to see you. And yeah, glad you liked the videos. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for saying so. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. I think we're just going to have to go. Yeah. Brakes released then.
Starting pushback.
Oh,
And
in
you
fact,
may start the engine.
let's get that beacon on. Don't forget to do the below the line. There we go. Start the clock. Below the line is windows, doors closed, beacon is on, mobile phone off, thrust levers are idle, parking brake is already released. And here we go. Yeah, this is the... I do enjoy this. These are the default IE engines, but with Tom Corwine's excellent repaint on them to make them chrome, Nick. Tasneem, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you enjoy it. Okay, here we go. We are pushing back. Sorry, Lufthansa, but I'm assuming they're travelling along with us. Right, let's get the engines up and running. So we go for engine number 2, start. Start the timer. Number 2 on. And away we go. See you later, Alexander Beck. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you in a bit. Caitlin, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. We'll see that spoiler spring to life in just a moment as the first hydraulic system powers up. There it goes. Oh, that's a good blast of neon blue and pink as you go through the cabin. Excellent. Right, that's available. Starting engine number 1. PTU running as you'd expect. There's a bit of a queue. You know, thinking about it now, we could probably have got away with single engine taxi, but it's not the biggest taxi out. It's just could be a little bit busy with all this traffic. Tug driver's been stealing Victor Tango's Vino by the looks of it, says Andy. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Please have parking brake.
Okay, there's the parking brake.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
There goes the engine. Nice old school IE engines. We haven't seen these for a while.
Qantas 875, taking off from runway 28.
There's a Qantas out there. QFA. Fantastic. They can disconnect. There's available. We will stop the timer. Start a new timer. Go back to norm. APU bleed off. APU off. Don't have to swap around with generators and all that stuff. Oh, what a nice... It's just nice being back in the 320. Flaps to 1. And that goes to flight plan.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. I'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Gross weight CG 28.5. Pretty much where it is. Pretty standard by default on the Toliss unless you do something different. So the ground crew disconnecting. Our after start checklist we will run once they are gone. I don't want to run it early and then forget that they're still connected. The Greek Badger says, just a bit of feedback. When you move your camera in the sim, the quality of the stream gets a bit blurry. Is there a way you can fix it? Sadly, not really. Oh, sorry to the Lufthansa. We got very close. There's the hand signal. They're out the way. Fantastic. So let's run that after start checklist. Anti-ice not required. Temperature outside is 16. Ecam status is checked. The pitch trim 28.5. Rudder trim is at 0. That is the after start checklist complete. So let's get ourselves out of here. Manta 275 taxiing to runway 28 for departure. Okay, taxi lights to come on and release that parking brake.
Nuremberg traffic, Manta 392 lining up runway 28.
Sorry, Jet Lufthansa, that's terrible. That's my fault. Let's run a bit of a brake check. See if we can do this properly. There it is. Yes, we didn't stop. That's always good. Yeah, so the Greek Badger. So I'm sorry about that blurring that you guys are seeing. It's basically to do with the bandwidth. So and probably the compression. When it sees a lot of the same color, so a lot of these grays, it will try and merge them. So if I pan around the flight deck like I do, maybe that's causing it. So maybe I'll try and reduce that a little bit. Yeah. If I put the rates too high, then my internet just won't handle it anyway. Oh no, Ollie, that sim crash. I saw a plane disappear over here. Was that you, was it, Ollie? Sorry to hear that. Enjoy your chicken casserole, Dougal. Sounds yummy. You guys let me know what the volumes are sounding like. If you'd like more of the aeroplane, I can do that, indeed.
Nuremberg traffic, Manta 392 taking off runway 28.
There we go. Manta's already underway. So we're going to go Mike, and then, well, we'll just take ourselves left at some point. I don't think it matters too much. Actually, no, we'll go not through these stands. We'll carry on. We started over here, so we'll go all the way down and then take ourselves through Mike 2 up onto Alpha for our taxi out down Alpha. Great stuff. So when it's a busy taxi like this, we might not want to do a single engine just because it's a bit, we're unfamiliar with it. Let's do some flight control checks. Full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral. Where's my pedal disconnect button? I do have one. I'm sure I have one, but I don't remember where. So there's full right, full left, neutral. Luckily, because the Toliss is modelled perfectly, you only get a little bit of nose wheel steering on the pedals, so it's not the end of the world. Great. Okay. Well, let's finish up what we need to do. Put that to TARA. Get that weather radar sitting on system 1. Max auto brake, please. Takeoff config. Perf page. Let's announce. Let's just get the cabin ready now. No point forgetting and doing that later and then not doing it at all, which is what always happens if you try and delay things. And yeah, thank you again, of course, to Spirit Wings for your donation earlier. As I just see it's about to disappear off the screen, so thanks. Cooper, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. The group measure says a bit more volume would be nice. By the way, nice quick start from the IEs. Yeah, the IEs, they actually start, they're routinely a bit slower than the NEO aircraft, except when the IE engines don't take longer whether they're hot or cold, whereas the NEOs are very quick when they are cold and they take ages when they're hot. Yeah. Isaac Tipson, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's good to be back in the Toliss. I'm really enjoying it. Tom says, I didn't think the Toliss had rudder disconnect. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, you can definitely do it. I've had it set up on with my old joystick, and I just don't think I've set it up on this one. I've been using it a little less. Yeah, aircraft is going to be a bit louder. I've turned it up. You might get louder air traffic as well, so let me know if it's too loud. We'll see. Here's Mike 2 then. We'll head out this way. Bit of oversteering in the 321, and by that I mean just getting the nose past where we're going. And hopefully, oh, if I was on the right tab, that's too fast. That's too fast. There we go. By doing that, you can keep the centre of those wings roughly over the yellow line, which is the intention of the yellow lines, really. If you just religiously put your nose wheel on that yellow line, you'll eventually find yourself getting into a bit of trouble.
Nuremberg traffic, Lufthansa 937, pushing back on line 2 from stand 10.
We are very heavy because I'm not even having to use the brakes. We are just rolling along on idle power, but normally the plane would accelerate, but when you're this heavy, it's actually struggling to move. Is this max graphics? Yeah, pretty much. Although you can get some people have some nicer mods than I do. I want to try out that X shade as well. Adam says, been watching the 40k long haul all day. What a flight. Yeah, that was something else. Yeah, we've done 2 30k and 40k. We'll do another one at 50 if we reach it. But yeah, that 40k one, I'm definitely next time flying more over land than over water. Neil says, new to the channel and loving it, waiting for Microsoft flights on Xbox. Excellent, Neil. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I think we're going to have a huge influx of people who will pick it up for Xbox and be trying out. I just hope they can get the mods on the Xbox. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that would be quite important. John says, I find the Toliss doesn't always listen to me when I ask for weather radar. I have to flick the switch a few times before it's on the ND. Ah, okay, interesting. So our terrain is off. Let me... Yeah, okay, it says weather all. That's interesting. That would tell me there's a different sort of radar to what I was expecting. Not sure, not sure. Going uphill now, you can see that. So it's grinding to a halt, which is exactly what the real aircraft does. It hates going uphill. Victor Sango says, I just bought Shade X and it works really well with no impact on FPS. Excellent. Yeah, I need to try that out. I've been struggling to keep up, as ever, with the to-do list of videos. I'm glad you guys, like I say, enjoyed that. There's our 5 minutes, by the way. The engines are warm. Glad you guys enjoyed the... Glad you guys enjoyed the landing challenge run. That was quite good fun. Although it took me ages to make because I had to do... I did quite a few challenges. I think I took out a couple that I also did that just I didn't didn't get the footage I was wanted and the smooth frame rates that I needed and so on. I can't wait till Microsoft Flight Simulator fixes its VSync. Afternoon, Simon Taylor. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Meme says I'm from Riga. Riga is the head city of my country, Latvia. Excellent. Yeah, great to have people from Riga coming along. Good to see you guys. Cooper wants to be a pilot when they grow up. Excellent. I hope you make it. Good luck. Chickpoint says, I think mods will be available for Xbox, maybe through the marketplace. When I export my project, I can tick a box for which platform it's being made. Ah, very good. Good to know, Chickpoint. Yeah. See, you guys are the fountain of knowledge that I need. Yeah, if I'm sure the fly-by-wire team would have thought of this one as well. So here we are, joining the queue down at Alpha. Evening, Rishab. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. And Doc Retro, good to see you. Lauren V says, so no round the world continuation from Australia. Well, we could go north from Australia, Lauren V. Yeah, we could go north. We don't have to. I just won't fly. I mean, we did. The last one was basically all oceanic, and it was, yeah, a lot of water. It'd be nice to fly over a little bit of land. So we might start heading north and then east. Henrik says, can you become a pilot even if you wear glasses? So, it all depends on what sort of flying you want to do and where you are in the world and so on. But the short answer is yes. Now, if your eyes are really bad, there's a chance no. But the only way to figure that one out is to speak to your country's aviation authority. But yeah, you can wear glasses. Lots and lots of pilots wear glasses, commercial pilots. Cargo Vroom Vroom says, hi, I'm from Poland. Excellent. Thanks for coming along. Dzień dobry. Guys like Livery Rishab, thanks for coming along. What is going on? Is there a delay? Someone landing? Is there air traffic suddenly? That sometimes happens in these situations. Nope. Nope. That's all good.
Nuremberg traffic. Change of plan. Lufthansa 105 Mike line up and take off runway 28.
Ah, there they go. There's a Lufthansa. I wasn't listening properly to the radio. Maybe there was a a call I should have been listening to. I do apologise if there was. Honky Horn says, Soren, yeah. Sadly, even if you did, no one's got mirrors, so they won't know who did it or care. You can't tell who's behind you. Simon Forrester says, can't join in flying today. Promised I'd watch Line of Duty with my wife in a bit, so I'm watching you all take off via X-Plane and X-Camera. It's brilliant. Excellent. No worries, Simon. We'll see you in the next one. I'm hoping to have a group flight very, very soon as well. It's been a long time since we're on one of those. Elitist Maggie, thanks so much for your $5 donation. Really kind of you. Elitist Maggie says, thanks for the content as always. I haven't been able to catch the live for a while. Thanks so much for coming along, Elitist Maggie. We haven't been live as many times as I wanted to be, so you haven't missed much, but thank you so much for coming along, and thank you for that really kind donation. Really, really appreciate it, Elitist Maggie. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Before takeoff checklists, flight controls are checked and checked. Flight instruments are checked for both sides. Briefing is confirmed. Flap setting config 1 plus F green and 1 blue. FMA takeoff data is 150, 159, climb that blue, 152, 7,000 feet to become a flight level. And we're stopping at, 7,000. Transponder is set, TARA. Eco memo, takeoff, no blue. Cabin secure for takeoff, engine mode selector norm, TCAS TRA packs are going to stay on. I have a video coming very soon about the air conditioning packs and why we turn them on and off and what the differences are and what the implications of that are. I thought it would be a 5-minute topic. It turned into a 25-minute video, which a lot of my regular viewers will be very familiar with. There's no topic I can't talk about for 25 minutes, it seems, in the Airbus, so I can only apologise if those of you wanted a shorter video. But yeah, that should come to the channel very soon, very soon. Neil, glad you enjoy it. Thanks for coming along. Lawrence, yes, this is VATSIM. Elisa Maggie says, please have a group flight on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sadly, I can't do those ones, I'm afraid. Sorry. Expecting, the current plan is Tuesday, but there's no guarantees on that at the moment, I'm afraid. I need to sort a few things out, but the plan is for Tuesday. Tuesday evening. PlayStation users quietly weeping in the background, says Dr. Darren No. Yeah. Yeah.
Transfer to the Gulf, line up and take off immediately, runway 28.
There we go. There's the Transavia in front. Excellent stuff. Johannes B, thank you so much. Incredibly generous, Johannes. Thank you so much for your $12.15 donation. Sorry it doesn't show the right currency, but thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm imagining that was in the euros currency. But thanks so much. Johannes says, flying along today as Manta 392. Luckily, I departed a little earlier. Thanks for the stream as always, and see you in Riga. See you in Riga, and thanks so much for that very kind donation. Really appreciate it, Johannes. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Very kind. It's great to see you here, and I hope you enjoy it. Ed says, the longer the tutorial, the better. It's all about the detail. Yeah, but there's plenty of detail in this one. And I use X-Plane as well as Microsoft Flight Simulator to illustrate a couple of things. So, yeah. Danny Roble, thank you so much for your $2. Really appreciate it, Danny. As always, Danny coming in with all the donations. Thank you. Really kind. Good evening, Captain, says Danny. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. So the Transavia is going. Is it clear on the approach? Easy to see from here. Some traffic out there, but we're going to get going. Manta 275 taking off runway 28 at Nuremberg. We don't want to miss our chance here. I'm going to be in trouble otherwise in the with the upload. So get those lights on. Everyone's ready. We're ready to go. We've done all our checks. We're just going to get going and get in the air and fly this departure. But yeah, thank you very much, Danny. Thank you, Johannes B, for those donations. Really kind of you guys. Thank you. I don't have the Toliss A319, no. Okay. So crossing the holding point, you're obviously going to check, and then I would also usually check. There is someone out there, so we need to get going. And to 275, rolling runway 28. Right, we don't want to start throttling up until we're sort of roughly pointing down the runway. But yeah, most definitely no delay. So there we go. We'll go 50% on the M1s from about here. We'll work our way over to the centre line. Start the clock, half side stick down, engines are stable, let's go. Man flex 36, SRS runway, order thrust blue and armed. Yeah, they showed up as a white dot and then they suddenly had landing gear, which is a clue that they were close. We're going to use a lot of runway though. This is a heavy one. Air traffic would be regretting letting us do this. Right, 80 to 100, side stick coming up to neutral. Look at that thrust as we roar along. Told you we'd need it all. There's V1. And rotate. Let's go. Airplane very sensitive. You'll feel it rotate much more responsively when the... positive climb gear up instead of talking. Yeah, when you take off at those higher rotate speeds, it's amazing how the airplane responds instantly to the side stick input, because you're using a, not on the NEOs, the NEOs use rotate law, but in the older aircraft, you're in a direct stick to elevator control on the ground. So when you go to rotate, it directly moves the elevator. So when you're going faster, you feel it. You do feel it. It's amazingly responsive when you're doing 160 knots. Right, autopilot 1. I hope that traffic behind us did land. Looks like they did. Excellent. Excellent. Unless they're in the go-around. Right, we're through the acceleration. Thrust climb, auto thrust. And it's going to take us a while to get those flaps in. We pay for the whole runway. We'll use the whole runway. Exactly, Doc Retro. So it looks really close. The reason I knew it would be a problem was not so much the high speeds, but it was the fact that there was a 10 knot split between our V1 and our rotate speeds. That's rare. More like 10 knots is a big split in a short haul Airbus, so it's a giveaway that we're going to use a lot of the runway. Yeah, absolutely. We're climbing up to flight level, so we can set standard. There's out blue 70, turning to the right. I do enjoy flying the Toliss. It is such a great product. Yeah, just great. Look at these screens, perfect. See, I told you guys, wide turn here, so no problem with the speeds. You know, 200 knots, it's not making any difference, and the aircraft has already planned it out to make sure we don't overshoot anyway. Right, there's the auto flap retraction. The flaps coming in, slats staying out. Above the S-speed now, so now we can bring those slats in. That's done, so let's disarm the ground spoilers, go to those gear lights, and we'll run the after takeoff checklist. Landing gear is up, flaps retracted, packs are both on, and the barrier F is on standard. So the after takeoff checklist complete. Now we're running a little bit late, so let's go straight up to our cruise level 330 initially. Optimum 336. There you go. Recommended max 360. So we are pretty heavy. Hi, so gosh, thanks for coming along. They did land. Thanks, Han. Yeah, so that looked close. But remember, after V1, you can't stop. So for that last bit, when you're getting close to the rotation, even if you have an engine failure, you're just going to be sat on the runway. And the criteria is you've got to clear that screen height at the end by 30 feet. So you've only got to pass over the other end of the runway at 30 feet. So yeah, it's it can look much closer than that. Simon says, and there's no Airbus topic that would ever be more would ever bore me when you're chatting about it. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. Lauren V says, could a V1 VR split also imply a wet runway? It could. Temperature 14 degrees, so we don't need any anti-ice. Warm cloud, some people will say at this point. Yeah. Yes, you're more likely, of course, to have a split on a wet runway. Yeah. So on a soaking wet runway, even if you weren't going to use the whole runway, like our V1 would have been even lower had it been wet, or we might have found we needed more flap. So yeah, absolutely. Because the V1, of course, is a stopping point, so it's all about your stopping distance that's become limiting. GJ says, what should I do? Buy the Toliss A319 or buy Microsoft Flight Simulator and fly the 320 NEO there? That's a choice you'll have to make, I'm afraid. Yeah, it depends how quickly you want your Airbus to be working properly and how in-depth you want it to be. There's no doubt for graphics, Microsoft Flight Simulator wins in general, especially VFR, but for a fully mature Airbus product, obviously X-Plane has more available. Right, 10,000 feet, accelerating, all looking good. Get rid of the landing lights. Are we above the clouds? We might go into this layer, so I'll leave the passengers in for just a little bit. Let's go to airport. Let's go to secondary, copy the active, radnav, it's all clear anyway. And I'm going to put in Riga in my progress page. Have it ready, 600 miles to go. It's a great feeling, this is my favourite feeling. Around now, just you're accelerating, you've got away from the airport. We talked about this in my last stream, I think, and we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing now. It's great. Look at that livery. Well done, Tom. Looks absolutely brilliant. And of course, Paddy, thanks for designing it. I've just not seen it before done so well in X-Plane. Yeah, really nice. Look at that. I like the way the wings are a slightly different shade. Really good. Ever so slightly darker. Christian says, when should the QNH go to standard? Is there a rule? It's usually when you are cleared to a flight level. However, if you're on the ground and you're cleared to a flight level, then you'll set it after acceleration, just so you know that you're accelerating at the right altitude above the airport. You don't want to take off on standard, because then you don't really know. Say you had a problem and you needed to return, say you went into cloud and you weren't sure where the terrain was. It's not a great idea to be taking off on standard. But as soon as you're cleared to it, you can put it in, which is why I did it just after acceleration altitude. We were climbing up and away. All seemed fine. Yep. George says, question, several A320 sim versions make the nice squeak, squeak, squeak during power up as the hydraulics pressurize, but the flyby A320 NEO doesn't make those sounds, should it? So, no, it shouldn't, and this one that shouldn't, but I have made it so it does, because a lot of people enjoy the sounds, and it's a simulator. So if I go to general settings and sound settings, 3D fading is off. If you turn it on, you won't hear the PTU. That's what that is. That's the power transfer unit. You won't hear it, but I have it just switched off so you can hear it. But yeah, so the fly-by-wire team did it correctly. They removed that sound, so you can't hear it on the flight deck. You can hear it if you sit in the cabin, though, which is exactly right. You can't hear that noise in the flight deck. So yeah, there is an option for that on the fly-by-wire tablet to adjust it, pretty similar to how I just did it there. We'll leave those passengers sat down until we get above this layer. Tom, thanks so much for your $5 donation. Really kind, Tom. Tom said, I just flew on an A320 in real life on Friday. It was a cool recognizing all the noises. I could tell when they turned on the yellow pump. There you go. Yeah, that high-pitched one of the yellow pump. So there'll be two. There'll be the high-pitched fuel pumps, and then there'll be the yellow pump when the rear cargo door's getting closed. Yeah, brilliant. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and great to hear people are flying around. I can't wait. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for your effort on this livery. Fantastic job. Yeah, really appreciate it. Very kind. I hope you're flying somewhere nice. See you guys, checkpoint. Hope you're doing well. Tom says, I want to hear the PTU. Yeah, a lot of sim people do. Me included. I can't hear it normally. You're welcome, George. This is X-Plane, Augie, not Microsoft. Hello to John. Excellent stuff. Brilliant. Yeah, if you enjoyed the takeoff, do please press the like button. Makes a big difference to the channel. So we know there's some thunderstorms out here. There's nothing on the radar, but there never is. The X-Plane radar is just not really doing a whole lot. So if I saw a picture like this out the window, I'm suspicious that I might be clipping the top of these, and the top of those is where there'll be the most ice and turbulence. There'll be plenty of turbulence in all of them. So I'm going to leave the passengers sat down. The cabin crew are probably out doing their service. Some airlines they'll get up even if the seatbelt sign's right. It does depend. But what I can do is we're in managed climb. Let's pull that speed and wind it back. What's the safe speed? We know our minimum clean speed was something like 235, so let's go to 40 knots just to get the nose of the airplane up. I could go into open climb, but managed climb's doing the same thing. It's just trying to get us as fast as possible up to our cruise. Stop timing there. And this way, I might avoid A, having to use engine anti-ice, B, any turbulence, C, any icing. And it's easier than having to take headings. Air traffic control would be much happier if we did this, assuming you were cleared up to a suitable level. Sometimes you try and do this, but maybe we're only cleared up to 220, so you just don't have the option. James says, just flown up from Heathrow to Aberdeen on a 320. I heard all those noises in C18D. Fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it. Tom says, I flew to New York for a baby shower. Lots of fun being on a plane in over a year as passenger. Fantastic. Yeah, see, America sounds very open. Yeah, sounds nice. People were able to go on holiday and see family and so on by flying there. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I wish we could do that here. Simon Taylor says, I'm currently dodging thunderstorms in northern France. Zebo weather radar working well. Yeah, the Zebo radar I think is quite good. I need to see those Zebo rain effects as well. I hear they're very good. Sadly, the rain effect Toliss use doesn't work in Vulcan. So we're back to the old school X-Plane one, which caused us a bit of a headache in the last stream. Right, we're above those clouds. Let's go back to managed speed. Now we're going to see a painfully slow climb while we re-accelerate, but we don't want to be sitting at low speed as we start getting into the higher altitudes. No way. Passenger signs can come off, the nose is down, and we can settle in. How long have we got to go? 16:45, so landing in an hour and a half. Now that seems like quite a long time because that is later than I expected. So I'm going to... I love that we can have two of these. 5.5 remaining fuel. Let's increase that cost to X. Saves a couple of minutes. Doesn't seem to cost any fuel. That cost fuel, didn't save us any minutes. So let's go back to 50. Excellent. This livery that is in the description, for those of you who'd like it. It should be. Let me check it is. Yep, it is in the description. So if anyone would like it, it is available there. Evening, Pilot Peely. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. I'm doing very well myself. Han says, what altitude would the seatbelt signs usually come off? A lot of airlines will do it around 10,000 feet. But that's not a rule. That's not a rule. If you know you're going to sit at 8,000 feet for a while, but you're not expecting to have to do any sudden manoeuvring, why not take it off there? The reason is below 10,000 feet, as you saw, you're more likely to be in cloud, making turns because of the departure, and there's just all sorts of things that make it just comfortable to do it after that point. You don't want to get a TCAS array in busy low-level airspace while you're being vectored around and have to fly quite a relatively, it's not aggressive a TCAS array, but you don't want passengers standing there queuing for the toilet because, of course, as soon as you turn the seatbelt sign off, several people on the airplane will have to run to the toilets because they've not managed in the terminal or they rush to the plane with their coffee or whatever. Like, it's always the way. Dog Retro, see you later. Thanks for coming along. I don't know if this route exists in real life, Danny. I don't know. Possibly. I'd imagine it would be a sort of Wizz Air style route. Or Ryanair. Maxim says, hey, I was wondering if you could quickly show how you have set up your cockpit view. Whenever I align the red and white balls, it puts my view too low and too much to the right. Let's have a look. So I'm using literally the default position. So if I put it lined up there. Yeah, that is. Depends. I mean, normally I'd be more. This is quite far back. It's really hard to say. I don't think that's unreasonable when I look at it like that. It's not unreasonable. The Airbus, you can't see down this. A lot of people in other airliners use this glare shield. So the idea is that if you can't see down it, you're in the right seat position. But the Airbus doesn't work like that. You'll see that you're just too high. So we want to be lining those up, but somewhere there. Yeah. I can see what you mean. We are sitting, it looks like we're sitting to the right. I don't know whether this seat, if we just go straight forwards, it still feels slightly to the right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm using the default one, I must be honest, the default Toliss one. Thanks so much, Marius, for your $5 donation. Really kind. I really appreciate it. Marius says, good afternoon, Captain. Would you be able to talk about the expedite button on the Airbus? Is it ever used in normal flights, and would it most often be used when climbing or descending? It's never used, ever. Neither. Now, there are some people who would disagree with me, I'm certain. But if I wanted to climb quicker now, you saw what I did. I wound the speed back. I knew that my minimum clean speed was somewhere around the 230 knots because of takeoff. So I set the speed to 240 because I didn't want the airplane to overly aggressively slow down too much. If I press it now, which we can do, let's just watch what happens. It'll be a little bit more aggressive. You can see actually it's going for 240, but now we're higher. That might not be good enough. And it's going to basically go back to green dot. And the risk is, if we do this, there's a high chance of getting slower than green dot, which is really uncomfortable at high altitude. So using it in the climb, especially at high altitude, is very rare. The only times I can think that people might use it is, let's say you're at 5,000 feet and air traffic control suddenly says, right, climb flight level 150 expedite. Now, they nearly never say expedite for the whole way. They're more likely to say climb flight level 150 expedite until passing flight level 100 or something like that. So, 5,000 feet that we need to do quickly. Expedite doesn't mean put the airplane on its tail and rock it up as fast as you can. It just means get a move on. Don't try and do anything clever. Don't try and accelerate. Just please get climbing and out of the way. So even then, you could press expedite, but any time you use expedite, most people will probably change it fairly soon afterwards. Pressing it and leaving it to get all the way back is quite uncomfortable. And it's the same in the descent. It puts the nose down too fast and gets too close to the overspeed. Now, there are perhaps some emergency situations where you might find yourself wanting to use that, but yeah, it's rare. I basically never use it, because ultimately, you saw what I did earlier. I'm just going to use climb or open climb, more like open climb, and select the exact speed. And in the descent, I'll use open descent and select a speed that isn't quite the same, as close as this one is. Because for those few knots, I save myself a lot of paperwork by not doing it. Some people use it to get the airplane going though, and then they change it. Some airlines actually remove that switch. So there you go. So this is doing not a bad job. Not a bad job. But now, you see, we're going slower. We're barely climbing. Yeah, it's not great. The biggest problem now is also any turbulence. We'd get into the below VLS, which we don't really want to be. And also, when we want to accelerate, it's going to take ages and ages. But some airlines, yeah, like I say, they actually have this blanked out or painted over, so you can't, pressing it doesn't do anything. Yeah. Strong tailwind here, which has made our climb performance probably look a bit worse than it actually would have been otherwise. But that's a good thing for us for this route. I thought the flight times were pretty reasonable. So let us, if we just go back to manage speed now. Oh, and we need to also pull open climb. There we go, thrust climb, open climb. Let it accelerate back. But this is going to be a slow climb. Adam McCabe asks, any news when you'll be back in the air? No, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. It's been a while. Yeah. I have, as you guys know, I've done a couple of flights this year, but that's it. Yeah. Adrian says, the auto-tuning works quite nicely in the latest A319 update now, and I have weather on the radar, a rare sight. Oh, very good. Yeah, that is good. Christian, thanks so much, Christian, for your $12.15 donation. Really appreciate it. That's really kind. Thank you so much. Christian says, thanks for your great streams. Get us simmers closer to reality. Hope you are back in the real air soon. Really appreciate it, Christian. Thanks so much for donating towards the channel. That's really generous. You guys have been very generous today. Really appreciate it. It's always very humbling. And thanks so much, Christian, for that. And yeah, fingers crossed. I'm keeping my fingers crossed too. I didn't think, even early this year, I didn't think we'd be here now. I certainly hoped we wouldn't be. But, like I say, things looking good in America. Fingers crossed same in Europe soon, if we can all agree some rules together. I feel like that might help. There we go. Last 1,000 feet to go. Dan J. Shresh, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. No problem, but yeah, I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing very well as well. Tom says, why does the no smoking sign switch have an auto position, but the seatbelt switch does not? It seems it should be the opposite. The seatbelt sign in some aircraft does have an auto position. In the auto position, the seatbelt sign will actually come on when you put the flaps out on approach. So a little bit too late to actually save you from the embarrassment, but perhaps early enough to just give the camera crew that warning. So yeah, that's typical. But yeah, so some aircraft like this though, the auto position for the no smoking, there's no smoking signs will be on the whole time anyway. This will just run some chimes and things and so on, and exit lights and whatnot. That's what that's used for these days, really. Yeah, good question. The Greek Badger says, what paperwork do you have to fill then? That would be paperwork for an overspeed if you were to go a few knots over. Yeah, it would be very, very easy to do. Goodness me. Q8 Pilot. Q8 Pilot, thank you for your $100 donation. Outrageous. That's really, really kind. Thank you so much. Really, really, really very generous. Wow. I don't know what to say. That's amazing. Thanks so much. Q8 Pilot says, thank you for your contributions to the flight sim community. Your efforts are truly appreciated. That's incredibly generous, Q8 Pilot. I don't know what to say to that. Just so kind. And Q8 Pilot, of course, huge influence in the flight sim community as well with Q8 Pilot's channel. And Q8 Pilot's been putting out loads of videos and streams. I think streams as well at the moment as well. So, yeah. you guys obviously, I'm sure you all know Q8 Pilot's channel, but if you don't, yeah, Q8 Pilot's got loads of great variety of different streams and so on. But thanks so much for that donation, Q8 Pilot. Really, really kind of you, and I'm glad you've been enjoying the. Well, I hope you've been enjoying the videos. And yeah, thanks so much for that. I don't know what to say. Incredibly kind. It really helps out a lot. Thank you so much. Goodness me. Right, Mac out star. There we go into the level off. That was a struggle, as you saw, to go from expedite to acceleration. Out cruise. Let's get that TCAS pointing down. You can leave it in norm, but why not have it pointing down? To be honest, I can't think of a good reason not to. Accelerating up to our cruise, about 0.78. There it is. Yep, cruising at 7.8. That's a nice speed. Good tailwind as well. If you have a really good tailwind and a normal cost index, the cruise speed will actually drop. It accounts for the wind. Oh, but we didn't load in the wind, did we? No. No, there you go. But no matter, 7.8 is going to be great. It would probably be a bit lower if we had loaded in the wind. That's what I would expect. Goodness me, yeah. It felt like something was missing. So that time is probably going to keep improving as we make better progress. Our overlay may be a better reference point. Maybe not, having said that. We are going to make good time today. Yeah, thanks so much, Q8 Pilot. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, yeah, incredible. Thank you. Thanks, Dave. And yeah, I agree with Danny. Yeah, very generous. I hope everything's going well with you, Q8 Pilot. Yeah. Joe Stone says, can you select Toga or MCT at this altitude to gain speed faster? No, you're not going to bother, and I'll show you why. If I wanted to accelerate now, let's say, let's put in a higher Mach number. Let's go up to 0.80. You see that the engines speed up. So they're at, what, 89% M1. So let's go to MCT. So I put the thrust levers forward. MCT, 89.4. So I got 0.4% of an N1. Let's go to Toga. What do we get? 91. And you can see that speed is still barely moving. So there's just no point. You're putting yourself in an unfamiliar situation with the thrust levers in the wrong place. The auto thrust is no longer armed, and it's got us basically nowhere. There is not a lot of extra thrust when you're up at these altitudes. And we're at 33,000 feet. If we were higher, there'd be even less. So let's manage that speed again. So yeah, that's pretty much why. Alan Story, thanks so much for your £5 donation. Really appreciate it, Alan. Very kind. I hope you're doing very well. Alan's been a long time member and supporter of the channel. Really appreciate it, Alan. Alan says, welcome back to X-Plane. Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you, Alan. I know Alan's an X-Plane simmer through and through. I really appreciate the donation, Alan. And yeah, it'd been too long. I was feeling the need to be in the Toliss, certainly, for this one. You guys who came along on the Nuremberg flight might remember the the dark rain, the windy weather, and the getting told off through to a landing. Yeah, that's why we're doing this in daylight. We're in real weather, but not real time. Those night landings in Flight Simulator are never that enjoyable. But thanks so much, Adam. Really appreciate it, and I hope you're doing very well. Good to see you here. Oh, there you go. Caitlin found. Hopefully that's finding Q8 Pilot on Twitch. SKW says, Q8 Pilot, another gentleman of the community. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And as Dougal says as well, yeah. SimPilot Dave says, if you were to give a rating to the 320 NX, what would it be? 1 to 10. And if you could fly the aircraft, could you fly it with minor issues in real life? Great content. Keep it up. Thanks, SimPilot Dave. 320 NX as a rating, well, in terms of a realism rating, that's really hard. That's really hard. Let's imagine if... Oh, no. I don't think I can. I don't think I can. In terms of effort and enjoyability, the A320 NX can have a 10 because they put so much work into it. It looks great. It sounds incredible nowadays, and also it's got so many great features like the printer and the downloading and the A cards, and there's so much coming to it. So it's great. if you could fly the aircraft, could you fly it with minor issues in real life? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in real life, yeah, you can deal with minor issues on these Airbuses. Absolutely, they're very capable. Remember, the Airbus can lose an engine and it can still auto land. It can lose a generator and it can still auto land. You know, it takes a lot, and it's just again, I've told viewers who've been around the channel for a while will know this, but yeah, I have been told a great line about the Airbus was an early thing that was told to me was it's a very capable aeroplane. Capable sums it up. It's more capable than most in its class because it can just do so many things. Yeah. So yeah, small minor defects, issues, breakages, no problem. Marcel Dupree, thanks so much for your £2 donation. Really appreciate it, Marcel. Thanks for coming along and supporting the channel. Marcel says, always inspiring. Is VATSIM is a problem in VR? Now that's an interesting one. Good question. Those of you who use VR, I know Windows Seat does if Windows Seat's come along today. Yeah, I don't see why it would be an issue. But thank you very much for your £2 donation, Marcel. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Yeah, I don't see why, because if you have your transmit button assigned somewhere that you can reach with your HOTAS, I suppose, of some variety, or your joystick, then if you were to stay in VR, you could tune the frequencies down here. I think you'd be alright. Oh, there we go. As Matt Olsen says, VR is tough to write stuff down. Yeah, the writing stuff down, that is a good point. The only thing I can think is be quick to be writing on the scratch pad, but even then, if you're in VR, it's quite hard to do that, I think. So that could be the one issue if things get busy. Mezzo says, have you tried the Hot Start TBM 900? It's really nice. No, I haven't actually. Very good. Does sound nice. Mr. Daisy says, imagine an Airbus and Boeing plane together. What would that look like inside? It would be like this, but brown, perhaps. That would be one way to do it. Or we could take a 757 cockpit and make that blue and grey. One of those combinations. Danny Rubel says, I just watched a video of an A380 where they visualised the turbulenced air when the A380 passed through on finals. Now I know why smaller planes have to wait for some time until they can take off. Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so... yeah, we're up in the cruise. Time for one of my principles of flight lessons that I really am not qualified to be giving. So, obviously, airflow on the front of the airplane. Look at this livery, just glorious. Comes in, goes over the wings, and goes off the back. Great, and that would all be fine if that's all it did. But of course, we're effectively, by creating the pressure changes, that air gets pushed down to some extent. Also, we're flying with a nose up angle of attack, so that increases that. So there is a down push of flow of the air as we pass through it. And you can see this when you follow heavy aircraft on approaches. Ooh, this is that is an intense turn. Wow, don't see that very often. Possibly to do with the winds. Yeah, I wouldn't expect to be doing 25 degrees of bank in the cruise. That would bring this VLS, in the real airplane, this VLS would be up here right now, I would have thought. How interesting. Must have been the way those waypoints were too close together, so it had to turn around. Yeah, interesting. David A, thanks so much for 9.99 US dollars in Asia. Really appreciate it, David. David says, thanks for all the streams. Very entertaining and educational. You're very welcome, David. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Thanks for coming along and thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah, really, really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well in America. Like I say, where things look like they're looking up, so I hope they are. And yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Again, you guys are all being far too generous today. Yeah, really, really kind. I'm glad you've been enjoying them. I'm glad you've been enjoying the streams as well. Some, you know, I do streams and videos, and I like to mix it up. The videos, you know, doing videos all the time is relatively lonely compared to the streams. The streams are great fun, so I'm glad you guys like the streams as well. So yeah, thank you, David. Lauren V says, Airbus and Boeing cockpit is an A320 motorised throttle levers with a side stick. There you go. Yeah, I can believe it. Fluff says, if you're in VR, get a scrap of paper from the printer. You'll need a pen somewhere, though. Yeah, true. Dimitri says, do you miss the real flying feel because of the fly-by-wire system? For example, at higher speeds in my aircraft, the controls need stronger inputs. Yeah, so I don't miss that at all, to be honest with you. We don't tend to do high-speed manual flying in any airliner. Up at the cruise, we need to use the automatics as is required by RVSM airspace. But the Airbus, controlling an airplane through a side stick like this is a fantastic way to do it. And yeah, I can't say I miss it. No, I can't pretend I do. I like flying all airplanes though, so don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say one's definitely better or worse, but I don't find myself thinking this doesn't feel like a real airplane when I get to fly it, because it does handle, you know, it is still an airplane. It does handle like one. It's a big piece of metal. You have to maneuver it where you want it, and the way you do that is perhaps slightly different. But remember, of course, modern jetliners all use hydraulic flight controls, so it's not like they're connected directly to the controls anyway. So although it does get a bit heavier at high speed, that's an artificial thing anyway. It's not a function of air over the controls anymore. It's not how it works these days for jet airliners. But I definitely know what you're talking about, Dimitri. And yeah, flying small aircraft is good fun because you do get to feel the air, get to push the airplane around in a slightly different way. Nikki says, I only fly VR and on VATSIM. Just use your map push to talk. Even have a nice X-Pilot in nearby ATC window whenever you want it. There you go. Some people use physical notepads. So yeah, there you go. You guys got all the info. Vicente says, I've been doing my first VATSIM flights this week. It really adds something to the experience. Excellent. Glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Cloud Chaser, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. COVID-19, which is an interesting choice of username, says, how do you know where to taxi? What I mean is that I was just on a flight and the taxi sign had different letters on and had arrows. I simply don't know why it's like that. If you search 320 Sim Pilot taxi tutorial COVID-19, again, yeah, if you search that, I have a tutorial on the channel that talks about exactly that topic. Danny Rubel, thanks so much for your $2 donation. I really appreciate it, Danny. Thanks for supporting us again. Danny says, when I watch you, it's hard to not love the 320 in terms of what it's capable of and the automations, etc. By the way, have you ever banked 20 to 25 degrees like that sharp turn in real life in the cruise? I don't think I have, personally. This is more normal up in the cruise. Now, we are only at 33,000 feet, so that perhaps is why we're lower than, you know, we don't typically cruise at 33,000 feet. It's just because we're so heavy today. Already we could be up at sort of 350. I don't think I have. I mean, that was noticeable for being quite steep because the speeds we're traveling with that bank angle. Oh, wrong window view. Yeah, I reckon that would have felt pretty strange. But yeah, thanks so much for that donation. Really appreciate it, Danny, and I hope you're doing very well. And I'm glad you're enjoying the Airbus. Yeah, it is great. Britann says, how to set up the TCA throttle with a flight factor 757? Just like normal. Yeah, just take out the detents, and that's how I do it, and then just carry on as normal from there. Thank you again, of course, to David for your donation, and of course, thank you so much to Q8 Pilot again. I really don't know what to say for that one. If you're still watching. Same as self-promotion, says Danny. Yeah, the 320 Sim Pilot's taxi tutorial, that's the way to go. Talk all about the signs and what they're telling you. Mr. Espresso says, I'm learning geography with these flights. Didn't know Kaliningrad was near Gdansk. Yeah, it is indeed surprisingly near. Let's see if we bring up the map. There's our little train. I can't quite show you. It doesn't quite go far enough. Sorry, guys. Can we see Gdansk on here? Not quite. My mouse wheel is starting to reverse itself, which is getting a little bit frustrating. So sometimes I'm scrolling and it goes the opposite direction. But yeah, no, Gdansk is near to Kaliningrad. There you go. Marcel's got the answer for VATSIM VR. Dimitri says, very interesting. Definitely one of my favourite feelings when flying, sloppy controls at low speeds, etc. Yeah, so even in the Airbus, in normal law, it on approach, at slower speeds, you can feel it's a little bit slower to respond. Yeah, even though it shouldn't be, because you are just commanding your rate, but you can feel it. David A says, I'm sure you've answered before. Have you had an opportunity to fly the MAX? I have not had the opportunity. Nope. Roblox, yeah, we can indeed see the cabin. Yep. According to EVI, so that's Riga's ATIS, taxiway Charlie is closed. Excellent. We'll start looking at those charts in a minute. I'm sure someone asked me about the rudder. Sorry, someone was asking about the rudder, and I can't remember what the question was. Oh, and Hayden J. Robbins has the answer. The rudder system retains mechanical linkages between the pedals in the cockpit and the hydraulic rudder actuators. Yeah, so the rudder system in the Airbus is connected, but only in a hydraulic sense. So it's very similar to, you know, that's typical sort of 757, 737 style. That's what it is. So yeah. You have map on Avitab? Of course! I knew it. I didn't, but thank you, Mr. Espresso. Maps. There we go. Do love the Avitab. Gdansk. We've been to Gdansk on the stream at least once. Have we been twice, maybe? Chechen over here. Excellent. Going past Poznan. Bydgoszcz. Bydgoszcz just has a little military airport. I say little. It's got a small terminal. It's a big runway, being a military airport. I think Ryanair goes there. Lodz. I do love Poland. So there's Vilnius, but I think we're going to scoot past Vilnius. But definitely, so our alternate is actually possibly here. But why we would go past Vilnius, I have no idea. So yeah, I think we'll use that as our alternate. So here's a question for you guys. Let's set that up in the box. That ICAO is EYVI. So let's change that now. EYVI. Put it in. Fuel prediction page. Gives... Oh, it doesn't tell us this. I don't know why. Yeah, this is a weird format. So it doesn't have our alternate fuel in it. So we just work it out ourselves. But it'll be less than whatever we had flight planned for. Which was presumably pretty healthy. Using that on the Avitab. Yeah, thanks everyone. Do apologise. Danny Rubble says, yeah, I learned the geography also. I know these cities like Malaga, where a lot of UK and Netherlands flights go to, but like Tirana, Split, those kind of cities. Skopje. Yeah, Skopje, Macedonia. Yeah. Loads of them out there. The Mystery 737 seems like a fly museum compared to the buses. Hayden J. Robbins, yeah. Russell Gaisley, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Guess the Mystery says, you converted me to the Airbus. The startup is so much quicker than the 738. Quicker equals more flights equals more fun. There you go. Yeah, that's as good as reason as any. Definitely. Ross says, I got my new PC after 1 year of saving. Congratulations, Ross. Excellent. Enjoy it. And now, after lots of complications, I'm downloading Microsoft Flight Simulator. I started around 1 PM UK time. How long do you think it would take? It depends on your internet, I'm afraid, Ross, but it's a big download. But it's worth it. You'll enjoy it when you get it. Anthony says, I think Q8 has cockpit shadows fixed for X-Plane on this channel. Ah, yes. I've been sent that before, and I haven't got around to it. I've totally forgotten. Because it didn't used to do this on my old computer, but when we swapped computer, it seemed to become a problem out of nowhere. Yeah. How are we doing for our descent? Let's, of course, go progress page. Still a reasonable tailwind, not too strong now. Bit of time to go. So Gdansk is there, Echo Papa Golf Delta, right en route. Going to get right overhead, fantastic. Dr. Onahu says, why are some ECAM messages special, like avionics smoke? Why do we need to consult the QRH? I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to with that, Dr. Onahu. I do apologise. There are a few ECAM alerts you can get. So, you know, if I turn off a generator, we'll get some ECAM alerts. There it is. So that appears like that, status message, obviously, and we'd work through it as I show in my video on it. And it's, yeah, the Airbus is incredibly clever. Look, it tells us the problem, and it shows us the problem as well here on the systems page. Now, some messages on here won't have much information. I mean, this isn't a failure. I've turned it off. It's telling me it's off. If I turn it on, it will disappear. But basically, avionics smoke is one of those ones where you have to choose whether you're going to follow the QRH checklist or the ECAM. So there are, you know, say you have avionics smoke, you're still going to want to apply the long QRH checklist on it. Yeah, it's quite a big topic, that. Smoke checklist is a big checklist in the QRH. But yeah, that's what it's there for. So there's some ECAMs that just don't cover everything. And more likely, the reason we have QRH checklists for things like decompressions and dual hydraulics failures and so on is that there's a lot of information and it can't all fit onto the ECAM, especially when it sort of has to be written as a decision-making process. So like a smoke problem, say you've got avionics smoke. Is that smoke because the avionics bay has smoke in it, or is it smoke from another part of the airplane that has gone into the avionics bay and triggered the sensors there? So that would be one example. So by just going with the ECAM, all this knows is there's smoke in the avionics bay, but it doesn't tell us any more than that. So we might say, okay, the smoke in the avionics bay, let's sort that out, and we do our blower extract override and whatnot. But then the smoke might have come from the cargo hold, but you haven't solved that if you just follow the ECAM, you know. So it's a bit of a funny one. So yeah, a good choice of ECAM. That's a particularly fiddly one. So hopefully that sort of answers your question. Russell says, controls will work with no hydraulics, but you need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to move them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you lose all the hydraulics, you'd lose the rudder as well. Yeah, it has happened. And then you have to fly with the engines. RO Player says, do you think X-Plane or A321X is more realistic, and what are the differences between A320 and A321? More realistic at the moment, it's definitely the X-Plane 321 or the 319, I suppose, or even maybe the Flight Factor 320. I haven't tried it yet. They are mature products in the sense they've been out for a while now, and they are really, really very good. But there are some things in here that don't work whereas they do in the A321X, but there's just more that are in here. The A321X is obviously just a work in progress, so can't fault it, but yeah, at the moment this is the more complete one. Look at that, you can even see the grime from the doors. That looks really nice. But ooh, I've lost the question. I'm so sorry guys, that route is wrong in the Streamlabs. Sorry Danny. Yeah, but in the terms of differences between 320 and 321, not a lot. First of all, obviously 321 is heavier because it's longer, so it has different limitations on the weight. Some 321s have different flap limiting speeds. So for example here, look, you can see 238 for flap 1. It's 230 in the normal aircraft, if I'm remembering properly. We've got a slightly different fuel setup in the 321 compared to 320. So you can see here that we have no outer tanks. It's just 2 main tanks. That's another difference. Then the speed brake. So in this aircraft, I can use full speed brake at any time, even with the autopilot in. However, after I put out flap 3, I can no longer use any speed brake. In the 320 aircraft, with the autopilot engaged, you can only use half speed brake, but you can use half speed brake even with flap 3 out. If you turn off the autopilot, you can use full speed brake. That couldn't have been more confusing. I don't even know why I tried to say all of that in that order. Yeah, those are just some of the differences. Otherwise, things we notice as pilots: higher VLS, so got to fly a bit faster in the 321, obviously, because it's got a smaller wing for a heavy airplane. So yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Interesting as well that I tried so hard when we made our own livery to get a tail that worked like that, and we didn't manage. So great job on that. I don't know how you guys do that with these liveries. And obviously this nose as well. That's just perfect. Unbelievably good. Victor Tango says, speaking of rudder, I just got a hydraulic damper for my MFG rudder pedals and it makes the action so much smoother and with a feel of weight. I'm very pleased with the add-on. Oh wow, Victor Tango must have that's a really good sim setup you've got. What are the MFG rudder pedals? I don't think I've heard of those. Does it come with a hydraulic damper or is that an extra thing? So Gosh says, I used to go on holiday where the plane is right now, more or less. Fantastic. Yeah, excellent. It's a great part of the world. Dr. Don't Know who says that livery will be a pain to keep polished. It will indeed, but we'll keep it looking nice. It's worth it. This is X-Plane 11, Craig. X-Plane 11. Han says the 321's takeoff speed was higher than I thought compared to the 320. Yes, yeah, and the approach speeds will be higher, just a little bit higher, but they are a bit higher. Brings me on to the next difference, I suppose, is that the flaps at the back of the wing are slotted. So in the 320, this is just one flap, whereas in the 321, there's a slot, and you get double slotted Fowler flaps, basically. So this little bit folds down even more, hence these tiny little fairings here, and here as well. Transport Gamer says, is the Toliss A321 worth it? That's only you can make that decision. I think it's fantastic. Victor Tango says they're the Milan flight gear rudder pedals and the damper is an add-on. Milan flight gear rudder pedals. Just let me Google that. I have the loudest keyboard in the world. Ooh. And I see, and then they sell hydraulic damper kits. MFG Cross. I have heard of the Crosswind. I see. Sorry guys, this isn't very entertaining for those of you. Yeah, I've heard of those. So, is that a good review from Victor Tango on those pedals, is it? It's a shame because again, I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator had a more sorted ground handling. Looks like we've got good spacing from the traffic in front and behind. Off the ice. Glad you enjoyed the takeoff. Adrian says, I also have the MFG Crosswinds, made by a single guy in Croatia, I believe, created the rudder pedals. Danny says, those rudder pedals, man, oh man, those are insane, but a bit expensive. Oh, wow, see, rave reviews for those pedals. I do have pedals. I have the Logitech Satec pedals. They're pretty nice. I quite like them. I chose them over another sort because I liked the fact that they had a good detent in the middle where I could feel where center point was, which in the real airplane is easy to do, but I found it quite hard on some sim rudder pedals. Usually the slightly cheaper ones, though. I mean, those MFGs, that'll be no problem. Akudias, thanks so much for your... I hope I'm saying that right. For your 80 zloty donation. Really kind. Thanks so much, Akudias. Akudias says, thank you for all the tutorials where I learned how to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Big love from Gdansk. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for that donation. Really appreciate it. We're heading to Gdansk right now, Akudias. I hope you're doing very well. And I'm glad you've been enjoying the videos. I hope everything's going well in Gdansk. I hope the weather's nice. Gdansk in the summer is unbelievable. Just what a place. Yeah, we must be coming up to it. Starting to see the coastline. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it, Gillis. And glad you've been enjoying them. Victor Tango loves them. There you go. Jacob says, hey, I think I'm just being stupid, but how are you supposed to enter the direct in the A320 NEO because it seems to keep messing up my flight plan? No daft questions, and it is different to the Boeings. So direct choose whichever one you want. So we're going, let's say go mid, it makes no difference really. Direct there, and then you do insert, and it will just see, you can see that yellow line showing me what I'm planning to do. So it shows you, and then you can hit insert and it will just turn green and it will go straight to that point. And that's all you got to do. If you change your mind at this point, I'll just erase it. Yeah, dead easy. But not a stupid question at all. Again, before I flew the 320, when I was just into flight simming but didn't actually fly, I couldn't turn on the Airbus. I couldn't work out how this little panel worked. I spent ages Googling it. So, yeah. You'd be amazed what I didn't know how to do until I had to learn it. By someone telling me it's the only way to do it. Dr. Naho says, I'm sure those pedals just got purchased. Not quite. Not quite. I mean, it's hard. I know the pedals I've got do work, but those do sound nice. They do sound nice. Dr. Naho says, when talking about threshold fuel, when does that specific threshold? And do you have to land even if you can't see the grounds? I haven't heard the phrase threshold fuel. That sounds like takeoff fuel, perhaps. Is that what it means? Or is that fuel you want to land with? Is that a term they use in America more? I haven't heard that one, I'm afraid, so I'm not sure what to answer. Sorry, Dr. Naho. I'm not being very good with your questions today. Alan Story says, Toliss A321 worth every penny for hours of trouble-free flying. Yeah, it is. It is super. It is great to be back in it. Jacob is perhaps having trouble because of using the 2020 NEO. Of course, I should have picked up on this. So in Microsoft Flight Simulator, yeah, that one's a bit unreliable, as Lauren Lee said. Yeah. And he says, when I started simming, there was no Google. I had to buy an actual paper book. Fantastic. I mean, I remember sitting there with the Flight Simulator 98 paper manual. Yeah, but it didn't feature much. Victor Sanger says, I used to have the same pedals as you have, but found them very imprecise, while the MFG's crosswinds are another level. Yeah, they look really good. They do look good. Danny says they seem like really, really good and solid products. I guess it's more for the experienced simmers, but really cool that they produce such products in adult immersion. Yeah, they do look good. You know, what's funny with flight sims is it's amazing how many little companies there are that make these really high quality specialist pieces of equipment, and they tend to be companies you've not heard of that just do sort of one thing. So what else? MFG also makes Warthog extension cables, but just the extension cables. Oh, and the tube. So the tube and the extension cable. There you go. If you want to make the Warthog a bit taller, and rudder pedals, and that's it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, they look like serious pieces of metal. I think, am I right, Victor Tango? Victor Tango also has the add-on pack for the Thrustmaster TCA. So Victor Tango is really up there on the home cockpit, because that it's great to have that whole set up. Adrian says MFGs can customize the centre field and just about any other aspect. But yeah, I had to sell my car. There you go. 80 zloty is £15.22. There you go. It's incredibly generous. Thanks so much, Aculius. Yeah, I think I don't think YouTube registered that quite properly, but yeah. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And we're coming up to Gdansk, Aculius. We are nearly there. It's just down here. So this is a big bay, and then this will be Gdansk. That'll be the old town, which is just amazing. Then you're going to have Sopot, and then up here you're going to have Gdynia. It's called the Tri-City. So the airport will be over here in this green patch, I think. Oh, that's embarrassing. Where's the airport? It's going to be a bit hard to see. That's a small airport, which is quite restrictive. It means that flying the visual approach into Gdansk is a little bit trickier. Where is Gdansk? Perhaps behind one of these clouds? should be right here. This is Speedbird 533. Right on our wingtip. There it is. Yes, found it. There's Gdansk. Love it. Yeah, fantastic part of the world. I think I've got that right. I think this is... I think that's the river, and that's the Gdansk old town, I think. Yeah. Beautiful part of the world. So yeah, thank you again, Akulius. Really appreciate it. Victor Sanger says, yes, I do have the Thrustmaster add-on, and it's really nice to have the flaps levers available. Yeah, sounds great. Dave, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. Great to have you here. Tony says, they even have brake limiters, brake sensors. Goodness me. Simon says, I was on the edge of doing it for so long, but today's stream has finally convinced me to get X-Plane pretty much for the Toliss 319 321. It just seems like such a high-quality product. Well, there you go. We should be sponsored, shouldn't we, by this point? Yeah, I mean, you know, you can see what the graphics are. The performance is good these days because of Vulcan. It wasn't always this good. But it is an expense. You know, they'll go on sale at times. But we've got so many airplanes. We've got the 737-200, the 737-800, the 757, the A300, the 321, the A300. Although we don't fly that much these days, but we've got a lot of really good airliners. The 146, of course, used most recently or relatively recently. Samuel says, if I select different speed during managed descent, will the aircraft keep vertical descent path, or am I going to be high on profile, low speed selected, or high speed selected? Great question, Samuel. Basically, it's going to depend which mode you're in. If you're in managed descent, it shouldn't matter. It will adjust the thrust, but that's not a very nice way to fly. You could also go with vertical speed, and if you go into open descent, of course, then yeah, if you go open descent and then adjust the speed, it will get you high or low. In fact, great point. Let's start setting up for the arrival. So, I think we have an ATIS. Sir Gosh, thanks so much for a £5 donation. Really appreciate that, Sir Gosh. Really kind. Thanks for coming along today. I hope you're enjoying it. And so Gosh says, what if the passengers had to land the A320? Would they be advised by ATC to set up the autopilot to land the plane or to manually land on water? Ooh. So, well, that is a question and a half. And I'm going to be really boring. And I'm so sorry. Thanks so much for the £5 donation. Really appreciate it, Sir Gosh. And I'm going to say, I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't think manually landing on water sounds like a great plan. That would be my guess. I would not like that plan. Right, we're just going to grab the 80s. But yeah, thank you for the donation, to Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's ever happened in history. Okay, it says, yeah, it's Gdansk. Also on the left wing, you have Sobieżówka Islands. I've never been out there though. Yeah, it does look nice. Lots of nice beaches around Gdansk in that area. Really nice ones on the Baltic coast. Oh, Concorde, Victor Tango. Yeah, we have Concorde. Yeah, Concorde I need to learn. Concorde is going to be the one for the 50,000 stream, actually. Yeah, Concorde. So it'll be a long-haul flight, but we're going to do it quickly. So we'll stretch Concorde's range and try and get as far as we can, but I don't know how long it can fly for. Yeah, Concorde was definitely on there. Yeah, of course. We already agreed that one. Who says, no worries, my typing ain't up to scratch. What is the minimum fuel amount in which landing must be continued and the go-around is no longer an option? Well, that's a great question. That's a big question. You've got to land with final reserve fuel, half an hour. That is why that's always included. So here, final time is 1.2 tons. So we have to land with 1.2 tons. However, if I'm on final approach to an airport where everything else is okay, but we mess up the approach, and I know I'm going to go below final reserve fuel if I go around, then I would put out a mayday and go around and try again. You don't want to have a worse incident just because you're stressing out about fuel when in reality you've still got half an hour. However, you would have a lot of answering to do after that as to how you got into that situation. It has happened, but no, I'm not saying it's happened to me, but it has happened. by external influences, weather, delays, and so on. But that's why you've got to communicate with their traffic control and let them know, because they don't want you going below that final reserve fuel either. So you'd have to be very careful if you were coming in with less than that and you were already into your final reserve fuel and then you're on approach. You know, it's a balancing act, isn't it? But I don't think I've heard of that happening to that extent. There was a famous case of I think it was a small turboprop that flew around for a while, and it got cornered by thunderstorms that weren't forecast, and the crew ended up finding a runway that was out of use, and they landed there. But I think it had a trench dug across it that they didn't know about, and it ripped off some of the wheels. But yeah, it was a nasty situation. But it was just the weather was just far worse than forecast. It was one of those things. So yeah, big question. So Gosh says, my question is like watching survival videos on YouTube. You never know if it might one day be useful. Dr. Darinaro says, if he's a viewer of your channel, we are covered. It's just starting the APU and pressing approach. No? There you go. Fetzy says, going full Captain Sully as a newbie passenger sounds somewhat adventurous. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? Right. Right, guys, I must apologise. I can see some more questions coming through. Rich Sanger says, I've had the Concorde from months ago, so much in awe that I haven't dared fly it yet. I don't have enough time to learn it at the moment. Yes, I wish I could pretend I have the same problem, but I do spend a lot of time on making the other videos, so I will work on it. Right. John Panfield, good to see you. Vikas, thanks so much for your 100, I think it's 100 rupees donation, I think. Thank you so much, Vikas. Really appreciate it. Very kind. Because there's what kind of opportunities are coming up to build hours for student pilots starting off now or in the next months of time in Europe and the USA? Goodness me. Flight training, potentially. So, yeah, thank you very much for that donation, first of all, Vikas. Really appreciate it. For Europe, I don't know what the typical opportunities are. I've asked a few American sort of trainee pilots. But there's some great YouTube channels out there like Swain Martin. You guys will all know Air Force Proud. I think he's put some up on his videos where he talks about it a bit. But yeah, hour building in America is quite a big task because there's a lot of hours to build. But you know, the usual things, so skydiving, flight instruction are common. Those are probably the big two that I hear people do. Yeah, in Europe probably similar. Maybe a bit of, but in Europe, of course, you don't need to build up quite so many hours, so you can go into flight school into an airline as soon as you've finished flight school, and you'll get your training in the airline. So yeah. But in the next few months, I don't know if there'll be a whole lot. Probably more private flying stuff, private charters, and cargo flying, of course. Cargo flying has continued to do, in fact, has done much better than normal. So those are some of my guesses, but I'm probably not the right person to ask is all I can say for that one. I do apologise. Thank you much for the subscription. We're going to get a whole load of subscriptions here, so thank you all for the subscription. I do apologise. I'm going to have to get on with the arrival setup, but thanks so much for subscribing. I hope you enjoy the videos. So EVRA. There's Riga. We have an ATIS. We'll just get the next one. So they're currently using information India. And there's going to be an ILS runway 18. So we actually have a bit more room than we're seeing here because we've got to go around to the north. Transition level is 6.5. Make sure we get that one in. Taxiway Charlie between Foxtrot and 18 is closed. That's great. I haven't seen that on VATSIM before. Very common in real life though. Very common. Most airports have some sort of roadworks at various points. Windows 100 at 4. Thank you all for those subscriptions. I really appreciate it, and apologies for Streamlabs behaviour. It does this every now and then. Visibility, touchdown zone, 10 kilometres or more. Clouds are few CBs. Oh dear, 5,000. We have a bit of extra fuel. Few CBs means, you know, we have over half an hour fuel probably. We'll check that. So they tend to pass through within half an hour. Most CBs don't block out an airport for long unless there's really really severe restriction, i.e. calm winds, massive thunderstorm, or lots of thunderstorms. Vikas, thanks so much for your 100 rupee donation again. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Vikas says, India here, airlines hire even at 250 hours directly into the A320, but the problem is because of COVID, the competition is high, so safe bet to build hours. Yeah, finding something to do in the meantime is a good way to think about it. So I would be thinking of just getting a job near an airfield, showing that you're still involved with aviation if I can. So something involved with an airfield of some variety, ground crew, or working in an airline in another part. Anything like that will be the way forwards if there's not space on the pilot route for now. Yeah, just to keep yourself close to the industry and showing that you're keen. If, of course, you've got a previous industry to fall back on, then that also is a nice thing to have as an option, but not everyone does. But yeah, thanks so much, Vikas, for those donations. Really kind of you. Really appreciate it. So QNH 1005, temperature is 19. No SIG, information in it. Right, there we go. Okay, so let's get ourselves set up. We're meant to arrive via Ascot. I'm probably going to find out that, that I've chosen the wrong arrival or something like that, that isn't available to us. So I was expecting the Ascot Charlie, 5 Charlie arrival. Here it is. So we come in from Ascot, then we go Taggle, then to Pevek. So I'm imagining if I go to the approach chart, I mean, that's not right, is it? That's not going to be the runway 18 arrival. This was for 36. So I can see that's not going to be right, because it's all runway 36. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of... Oh. This is why we should be doing this earlier. Let's go for 3 Alpha then. Yes. So we go from Ascot to Smade with the identifier tuck. And then we'll go up to Gudin, initial approach fix, IAF. And then we'll go to approach, RLS runway 18. And there it is, Gudin, round, onto the RLS. What's the RLS like? 3 degrees, starting at 7.4 miles. Elevation here is, what is the elevation of the airport? 37 feet, pretty much sea level. It's pretty standard stuff. 7.5 miles, so flat 180, slowing down by the time we're at 7.4 miles. 180 to 7.4 is sort of the maximum I want to do at this weight today. And then we got our minima. So let's load some of this stuff in. Yeah. Flight plan then. Arrival. RLS runway 18. Oh no, what am I doing? Let's go 3 Alpha. Score. There we go. So via Gudin. Again, it would automatically do that in the real airplane, or in a lot of them anyway. So there we go. Let's just check that works. Plan, constraints, zoom all the way in. There it is. Round, approach. Fantastic. Radnav, it's going to tune that a bit later. The Toliss does a bit later. It's got the tuck VOR. That's all looking good to me. Progress page, EVRA18. So there's the runway threshold. And we've got GPS primary, accuracy is all looking good. Fantastic. Performance page. Now the descent speed is going to be ludicrous. 340 knots, no good at all. So let's go 7.6. And then let's convert that to 300. And that will just move the descent point back a bit. The approach. QNH 1005. Temperature 19. So it's... Oh, how is it 19? That's brilliant. Ugh. It's freezing cold in the UK. Magnetic wind. What did we say? Oh, I didn't write that down. Or did I write down 1004? Yeah, 1004. I thought that was a QNH I've written down. 1004. That's why I always write Q1005 when I'm writing down the QNH. Transition level, slightly raised, 6.5. Because of that low QNH, I'll need to raise it. So 6.5 makes sense. And minima, let's put in the minima of 233. Config full landing at this weight, V approach 148. So if we went to config 3, we'd just be approaching so fast. So config full, let the flaps take a bit of the drag and a bit of the braking. Minimum cleans 225. So yeah, that's pretty serious. Engine out, let's put in 1530 as well. So that's the perf down. Fuel prediction, plenty of fuel, 2.8 extra, but we're going to need some of that because we're going to land with 5.5. 5.5, but we need 1.2 final reserve fuel, and then our alternate plan was ridiculous. Yeah, 2.3 for the alternate. We're never going to need 2.3. So let's give ourselves 1.8 to get to our new alternate of Vilnius. So that's going to be 3 tons required. So we need to divert when we reach 3 tons. So we've got 2.5 extra. So it does seem to include it. It is in the sums. It's just hidden away somewhere. So yeah, we've got over an hour. We've got plenty of extra fuel to deal with those CBs. No problem. Secondary, we're just making a copy. Keep it up to date. Good stuff. Let's have a look at the airport runway. We would of course check our performance properly. So it's a 10,000 foot runway. So you guys know exactly what's going on there then. That's pretty reasonable. Victor Tango's off to prepare dinner. Thanks, Victor Tango. See you later. Thanks for coming along. John Padfield, FS 2020 for me tomorrow. A320X needs an outing. Any suggestions for a route? Oh yeah. Who's got a route for John? Yeah, there's the whole world available to you. Runway 18 is more scenic over the water. Excellent. Looking forward to it. James has just taken a look at the Colomata Concorde for X-Plane. All those switches, gauges, buttons and lights. That's going to be a steep learning curve. It is indeed. Yeah, I've powered it. Well, I haven't powered that up. I've loaded it in the game and yeah, terrifying. CB clouds are not looking great with default clouds and the default weather system in X-Plane. Sometimes they're good. The stratus clouds are the best in X-Plane's default weather. Yeah. Sorry about that route. Yeah, the route is incorrect in Streamlabs. Sorry about that, guys. Northern Railway. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Right. Good stuff. Right, so let's get to the airport. Airports. Massive. 3,200 meters. We're landing on 18. Probably want to come off at Charlie or Bravo. There's no real high-speed exits. Don't want to have to go all the way to the end. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go flat full, medium auto brake and see where we end up. The other reason to do that is if the runway's soaking wet, I'd rather have medium available. Darren says, I got to jump off, I'm afraid. Stay safe and thanks for the nice chat. Thanks, Darren. See you later. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, man, thanks for your sub. I hope you're doing well. And I'm glad you've subscribed. I hope you enjoy the videos. So yeah, so medium auto brake to come off somewhere around Charlie, probably. It's got these ground charts. So why is it complaining? What was all this information? I don't normally see this many ground pieces of information. When notified by Digiatis, ground and tower control will be provided as a combined function on 118105, call sign and Riga Tower. Okay, so is there an automatic changeover? Loads of frequencies and notes, goodness me. This does happen. Ah, well, and also I've said something wrong, of course. This engine acceleration shouldn't be 1530, it should be 2500. Apologies, everyone. Yeah, there we go. 1700 feet for the MSA, pretty low, but note 4 is 1500 within 12 miles. There's loads of notes on this chart. A few too many for my liking. Let's put the 25-mile ring in. And then we'll know the MSA is 2.3 when we're within that. Very low. Not too much of a terrain issue here. Look at these notes. 8.3 exempt. Let's talk about frequencies. Didn't use for M1 comms. Fine. The ATIS didn't notify us. But it doesn't look like an automatic changeover that I can see unless it's hidden away in one of the many briefing charts. Ugh. Speed restrictions. Pilots should typically expect. Com failure. No, not Jen, sorry. Arrival continued. Preferential runways, landing on 18, 36 available overnight. Sorry, available during the day. Overnight they land on 36. Interesting. So runway 18, we are a medium jet. They expect us off at Charlie. There you go. There's a decelerate message. Airplane not actually slowing down. How interesting. It's because it's gone into the descent phase. It isn't actually slowing down for the fact we're passing that point. Let's start down then. No air traffic control. I go for 100. Thrust idle des. Let it do it. It's got the whole arrival in there. Distance from the airport 91 miles, but we've got to go north and south again, so that seems pretty reasonable. Descent point. There it is. Oh. My fixed info should have been a range, not a radial. A radius. Sorry, not a radial. There we go. Get rid of that. That looks better. Great stuff. So we're going to be above 9,000 at tuck. We're going to be passing 10,000 just after it. So that's a good sign. We're roughly on profile. Right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, we were trying to work out frequency change. Oh, here we go. Right, the pilot shall contact Riga ground immediately after vacating the runway for taxi clearance if no other instruction from Riga Tower is received. I thought there'd be something like that just because they seem obsessed with communications with this chart. So then they're going to tell you on the ATIS if that's not happening. Let me just check the last ATIS I got. So Charlie is closed between Foxtrot and 18. Foxtrot's there. Ugh. This is incredibly complicated set of charts for such a small airport. Where's my parking stands? There they are. Right, Charlie, I'm assuming is this main one, but we can't be sure. There's Foxtrot, Foxtrot doesn't say. Charlie. Ah, so Charlie is closed, so we can't vacate on Charlie. If I was reading the chat, you guys would have all stopped me, I'm sure. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Charlie's closed between Foxtrot and runway 18. I see. So this is Charlie. So this is closed. Right. Oh, well, forget that then. We're going to go low auto brake, flat full, idle reverse, and we're going to roll along to the next one because we're not going to make a backtrack onto Delta. So we're going to have to go for Bravo. Good. Glad we did dig into that. It's always worth it. But there we go. Automatic changeover. In theory, I don't know if they're going to be doing that here. We'll find out. But yeah, ground frequency for us. There's 3 notes in this one little box. 118.805, 118.8. We'll go with 118.805 after vacating for this area. And let's just see what happens with that. Good stuff. Right, I think we're ready. Let's talk to air traffic control, who are contacting us now. They want us on 129.920. Yeah, if they've gone to the effort to put it in the ATIS, we better. No excuse. If it's in the ATIS, you can't then slow down for an exit and then cause a go around because you didn't realise you couldn't use it. Definitely 129.92. And we have, what do we have? Information India. And this is approach. Approach, good evening, Manta 275, descending flight level 100 to Ascor 321 with information India.
Manta 275, Riga Base, hello, set squawk 4177.
Squawk 4177, Manta 275.
Manta 392, am I cleared for the ILS?
And we want 41.
Manta
377. There we go.
About 5 minutes ago, decent altitude of 2,500 feet via Gudin, cleared ILS.
Never by Gudin, that's good. That's all matching up in our heads. So the airplane in front is doing what we planned to do, so that's a good sign. Let's just have a bit of.
Manta 275, Riga Base, radar contact, continued descent, flight level 60, information Juliet, vectors ILS 1810, right heading 060.
Information is now Juliet to vectors for the ILS runway 18, descend flight level 60, and confirm heading 060, Manta 275.
Manta 275, APAM heading 060.
Heading 060, Manta 275. Right, heading 060, we're going down to flight level 60. Now that's a curious one because, let me get the latest ATIS.
Swiss 29 Delta confirmed descent altitude 5,000 feet.
Yeah, Swiss 29 Delta, we got 5,000 feet. Sorry, we got a problem with our autopilot.
Swiss 29 Delta, roger, no problem. Continue descent altitude 2,500 feet.
Sorry guys, just getting the latest ATIS. QNH is now 1005. We're still, he said flight level 60. Let me just check the transition level is 65. So if the transition level is 65, I'd expect it to be 6,000 feet. So I might just confirm that with him in a minute to make sure we don't mess something up. Obviously, we've reverted to vertical speed. I'm going to go down thrust idle open descent because we are 50 miles away. Yeah.
Runner 590
We'll go down thrust at low percent for now, and then we'll reduce that as we get a bit lower to keep it continuous. Manta 275, can you just confirm it's flight level 60 for us?
Manta 275, terribly sorry, the transition level was a bit high today. It's altitude 6,000 feet, QNH 1005.
Altitude 6,000 feet, QNH 1005, Manta 275, thanks. Cool, there we go. So that's starting to time with what we expected. So QNH 1005, 6,000 feet. Yeah, so it's because of that low QNH that they've had to raise the transition altitude. But it's non-standard. You know, they normally have it lower. You can tell, and that's an easy thing to happen. Time Walker says, "Hi mate, feel like it's been a minute. Hope all is well with you and the FO. All well here. Time Walker, thanks for coming along. Great to see you again. Yeah, FO hasn't joined us today so far. She's found other things to do. Yeah, and Andy, you're absolutely right. There's a lack of cat in the stream. Good day to Captain Zarif. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well in Malaysia. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, it's a good point, guys. The co-pilot's been missing. Anthony says, I'm sorry if this question was asked 1,000 times, but how do you usually pick a route for sim? Is it something that resembles real airlines or just cities you like to fly to? It'll be a combination of cities that we haven't flown to or we want to fly to. Sometimes I will use a route if it's the right airline or the right sort of aeroplane. So like, you know, we use the 146 to go to Jersey. Or sometimes, as you guys know, sometimes I just make it up. Sometimes it'll be to do with the flight time. So, you know, I might want to do one route, but it's just going to take too long for the plans for the day. So, yeah, a whole combination of things.
Riga approach, good day, Lufthansa 937, passing flight level 200, square 3
Mr. Silent Sky, stay high in the air. Says Mach number is decreasing because of the higher density of the air during the descent. Yep, absolutely. This number will now tick down because we're stuck. We're flying at 300 knots airspeed. Probably reduce that a bit. I'm not sure. It looks like we're going to get vectored around, and we were warned by our very kind Riga controller earlier about this. Andy says, if you want Concorde help, there's plenty of Discord who fly. Just give it a shout. I'm sure I will need you guys. Yeah. Thanks, Andy.
Radar contact, continue descend, flight level 70, and vectors LS18, turn right, heading 060.
Taki said, I asked a close friend of mine who was captain at Olympic Airways for more than 20 years what were the chances to land with safely the 737-400 as a passenger. I was an expert in FS then, and his answer was somehow disappointing, 1 in a million. There you go. Well, that is a 737. Very good. And he says, my feed on FO isn't on my desk either, probably because she knows I'm not flying right now. Yeah, they do know everything. When I sat down to set up, the FO did join me, but she left before we started. The Harmony says, can you share your checklist? I'm just using a default one. It's in the Discord, I believe. I believe it's in references in the Discord. If you join the Discord, Mickey, there's some good ones in there that Matteo has kindly put together, I believe. And she says, thanks, I'm struggling sometimes to get interesting routes, so interesting to hear your insight. Yeah, you know, and sometimes, you know, it would be for the scenery. If I've got nice scenery, I'll try and fly there. So we did a few Canary flights because I've got good scenery there, and I'm sure we'll be returning soon. Captain Zarif says, I just watched your video on calculating top of descent for the first time, and I noticed that you are live streaming now. What a coincidence. Excellent. Thanks, Captain. Thanks for coming along. Mickey says, you should fly to Ohrid, North Macedonia. There you go. There's another one. We haven't done Skopje. In the Toliss, really. I mean, I just fancy going to Riga. But the Toliss is good for some of the trickier approaches because it's a capable airplane that can do it. So that's really what we should be using this beast for. We've got all the information, we've got all the fix info, we've got the non-precision part. Yeah, it's very good for that. We have done loads. We've done loads of wacky circling and so on.
Swiss 29 Delta, continue correction on present altitude. Be good in cleared Alice approach runway 18 report established.
Interesting routing here. We might go through to the other side. We shall find out. We're through 10,000 feet. We're on constraint already. I'm going to just pull vertical speed and go 500 feet per minute because we're going to have a lot of extra track miles now. I don't want to be any lower. Turn on landing lights. Turn on the seatbelt signs. Start getting that cabin ready, please. Approach checklist briefing is confirmed. Decam status is checked. Seatbelts are on. Barrier ref set 233. MDA. Sorry, barrier ref is 1005 is set, and we've got the MDA 233. Engine mode selector normal. All good. Engine's kicking in. You can see why they're using 1.8. Sometimes you might have a bit of a tailwind on landing, and you might say, well, why are they using that runway? But if they've got a strong wind in the air for the approach, they'll want to use the one with the headwind on approach, not just on the actual runway, if they can. If it's too strong a difference, then they won't do it. Possibly a sign of wind shear as well, of course. Lauren V says, the Toliss 321 doesn't even have the ability to do offset localized yet. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Which approach, Lauren, is it that you're talking about with that? Lauren's been asking me to do this approach tutorial for a while, and it's a great idea. So, what approach is it that you want to see done? There's a few out there. One springs to mind is Molde, Northern Norway. Ashley T says, VATSIM event 19th June, Manchester to Gatwick to Canary Islands. Well, we'll definitely do Manchester, not Gatwick, although that is quite a long way, but we've caused problems in Gatwick before as a group.
Turn left heading 360 Lufthansa 105 Mike.
Nix 2000 says, this pandemic is such an opportunity for non-pilots to learn from real ones. I love your stream. Thanks so much, Nix. Really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, and it's been an opportunity for me to get to enjoy this in a way that I never have done. So, yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for that. That's all down to you guys. Tim says, just finished my paperwork to send the LBA for my MEP CPL IR check. So excited. I learned it all in your stream. Thanks so much. Thanks, Tim. I hope not. But, yeah, fantastic. Good luck. Well, I hope it all works out for you. Yeah, brilliant. The MEP CPL IR is an amazingly complicated check, so I know for a fact you can't have done all of that on this, or any of that on this channel.
Continue descent altitude 2,500 feet on present heading.
2,500 feet on present heading,
Adam says, Melbourne Real World Ops events. Melbourne to OMAA for me would be interesting. Okay, there's another one. We do have a 350 sat in Melbourne. Yeah, we're going around to the other side here. 500 feet per minute seems to be working out for us. Airport's over there.
Swiss 29 Delta established ILS 18. Swiss 29 Delta, contact 3,000
MSA's more than adequate here, of course. It's down at 1,700 or 2,300 feet, sorry, I should say. But no problem for us. We are very visual. Nice day here. Thunderstorms haven't materialised, luckily. Lauren Lee says, I have several offset localizers. RJTT.
Turn left heading 330 Lufthansa 105 Mike.
22/23. Because Mateo's given me some great ones in Champino, of course. Kai Tak. And Alpha Papa Golf. Thanks. Birdman, thank you. Yes, if you are enjoying, do please hit the like button. It makes a big difference. Thank you to all of you who have. We're doing very well for likes, actually. Yeah, really appreciate it. The FO, Pavel, thanks for asking, is not bothering to join us for this approach, it seems. Frustratingly. The Harmony says, is the Boeing 767 757 easier to fly compared to the 737? Yes, I think so. It's
275, turn left heading 345.
Left heading 345, Manta 275. Here we go then. Oh, still warm clouds. Why didn't I write that one down? As soon as I look at another number when I'm streaming, I don't find it so hard in real life. But sorry, Manta 275. Can you confirm the heading?
Manta 275, heading 345.
Heading 345. Thank you. Sorry, Manta 275. Yeah, there we go. Heading 345. It's funny in real life. you can, I suppose because you're more focused on it, but because I'm reading and so on, I didn't write that one down. I checked the temperature, and then as soon as I went back to select it, it gone out of my head. Anyway, it is warm enough, so we don't need the engine anti-ice.
Continue approach.
And we're heading downwinds.
Continue to takeoff.
Runway 51, uniform
250 knots seems fair enough.
2,500 feet, turn right heading 150.
Wojtek, you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Runway 18 once established, speed 160 knots until 40 me.
Yeah, I think the 7675 is easier. I found it easier just for the overhead panel. The overhead panel was pretty straightforward. However, the hard part is the CDU, and the magic is the CDU in the 75 is basically the same as 73, as I discovered. You all told me that, and I still spent ages procrastinating and putting off the 73. So yeah. You're welcome, the Harmony. Togo, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well.
Descend to 2,500 feet, Lufthansa 105 Mike.
Captain Zarev says,
Manta 275, continue descent altitude 4,000 feet.
descend altitude 4,000 feet, Manta 275. 4,000 feet.
Lufthansa
So we're
9,
downwind.
descent altitude
We are
4,000 feet, QNH 1005.
expecting to go next onto the approach. Let's put in FI 18 as a point,
Transavia 22 Golf, contact Riga Tower 118.1.
and we'll do the radio in. Let me get that inbound course of 358. No. Oh, it's worked as. No, it's not what we want. I want to radio in. There we go. Inset. It says adjust. What we need to do is pull, so the nav mode is no longer armed. Good, that's the two-way point. We're 10 miles of beam now. You see I can see 10 left. So now I've done that centre line, it's sequenced, and the next waypoint is the FI 18, which is over there, 2,500 feet. Let's get the LS on. We're going to need it for landing, and yeah, this is going to be quite nice. We're going to head out over the sea, background and in.
Lufthansa 105 Mike.
We'll keep doing our 500 feet per minute because we have plenty of room. Plenty of room. You can see here, we're already 11 miles out here. Tango Delta, good to see you. Glad you made it for the approach as well. Anyone can take part in the group flights, Adam. So anyone can fly along on these if you're on VATSIM and you have to file your flight plan and so on. But the actual group flights we're going to do in Microsoft Flight Simulator, one coming up soon. Yeah, everyone's welcome, of course. Yeah, so Captain Zarif is saying, I hope I can afford a new PC soon. Flew in FSX on my laptop and getting 10 to 20 FPS. So painful watching this calms my mind. Yeah, so FSX brought my... It's just so unoptimized now. It brings everything to a grinding halt, I think. Marcel says, your streams make my Sunday evening. Thank you. You're very welcome, Marcel. It's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Yeah, let's check actually. The tune India Romeo Victor. India Romeo Victor, there it is. Let's just check the DME. It's going to read 0 at the threshold. Yep. Great.
Cleared ILS, runway 18. Report established, sorry.
Harmony says that's true. Even I find the Boeing's FMS is harder to deal with than compared to Airbus. Yeah, I think it's just what you get used to. There's some great things about the Boeing ones, but yeah, I like the way they load in. You can load in long routes very easily. Deshaun says, hey, there's either a problem with my fly-by-wire plane or my TCA thrusters, but something is wrong with it and it won't sync properly, even with your sensitivity. Make sure you've got the... Actually, it's a tricky one. I had a lot of my throttle settings get ruined recently, so you may have to do a whole sort of setting it up again, but I'm not sure. Left heading 280, Manta 275, 280, 280, 280. There we go, 280. Jeffrey, good to see you. Yeah, in time for landing.
Descent 4,000 feet, down QNH1 is...
Well, you've missed a bit of the flight, but it's, you can catch up if you want to. It'll all be available on the channel. Looks like an oil rig. So we must have that aircraft carrier. There it is. Always floating around. See how hard it is to use a horizon over the water. Any sort of sunrise, sunset or haze flying over water, incredibly dangerous when VFR. It's very hard to do. Even this is more of a horizon than you'd expect. Sometimes you just can't tell the difference, especially with the sun in your eyes like this. Yeah, really bad. Excuses, yeah, excuses. Heavy, that's my excuse today. 75 tons. We haven't landed a 75-ton Airbus on the channel for a while. So heavy. I'm too fast here as well. We should really start slowing down. So I'm going to activate the approach phase. Luckily, we're pretty much level, so that will be very easy to do. Because we're going to go steaming through this. We've got a strong... Oh, not a strong, actually. We've got a bit of a tailwind, though, so I need to get that turn in soon. Unless we're coming in from the other side. Either way, slowing down will help us out here. Yeah, so there's the excuse. Heavy and 321. We haven't done either of those things for a while.
275, turn left heading 190, cleared ILS. Correction, descent altitude 2,500 feet. Cleared ILS approach runway 18, report established.
Left heading 190, descend to altitude 2,500 feet. Cleared ILS 18, Wilco, Manta 275. Wow, there we go, out. Approach, pointing inbound, bit of a tailwind, that's why we're slowing down. Let's get flap. No, we're okay. We can keep 225 knots actually because we're going to be level-ish. So there's Cat 3 dual, lock star. So that's all worked. We've got 2,500 blue, but it's not armed yet until we go into vertical speed. There we go. So let's go 400 feet per minute down, out blue, glide slope blue, vertical speed 400. You've got to keep on top of these flight mode enunciators up here. That's the way we do things nowadays. You'll see we've gone through because of that tailwind, and we're relatively sporty. So he'll probably slow us down soon. We're gaining on the aircraft in front. They are 4 miles ahead, seeing as we can't use the convenient exit point. He hasn't given us a speed control, so I'm going to go flat 1 now. Flat 1. I'm going to start slowing down. Otherwise, we're going to give ourselves a headache. Thanks, Marcel. Glad you like the streams. Okay. What you want to do is we want to get that speed so that we can use flap 2 if we need it. So I've got to get below the flap 2 limiter. Because flap 2 is where the drag comes out. There's no drag out there at the moment. The slats are out, but the flaps are in. So I can actually also cheat a little bit. You can select a slightly lower speed. There's no problem going below these characteristic speeds. There's not a minimum speed. VLS is our minimum selectable speed, lowest selectable. So the reason we want to do this is that, look, we've got a tailwind. We're 12 miles out, so we're actually, speed's under control given the distance, but what's going to happen is we'll find that the airplane might start to accelerate as it goes down the hill. So having the flap out and the drag out is going to be very useful to us. Han said, I had a crash desktop on final. I think somehow managed to get in front of you by then. Oh dear. Wake turbulence is a valid excuse. Yeah, we're going to be pretty close. Hazy. There's glide slope star. Get our go around altitude in 2,500 feet. There it is. It's already in. So we are established. Did we have to report established? I think we did. Manta 275 established ILS runway 18.
Manta 275 contact Riga Tower 118.1. Wish you soft landings here.
118.1 Manta 275. Thanks so much for your help, bye. Right. 200 knots, 8 miles. We are fast, so gear down. And let's get a bit of speed break out because we have a strong tailwind. Right, 118.1 is the frequency. See, it doesn't take long. That's why it's great having 2 pilots. One pilot would have been focused entirely on making sure we don't do this. 180 knots to 7 miles. Okay, we're getting the speed under control again. There's the Radar Live 2,400 matches, so that means we've got the QNH lining up correctly. That's all looking good. Starting to go visual. Speed break now. We're going to lose when we go to flap 3, you see. So I'm going to bring it in. If you did select flap 3 with a speed break out, it's not the end of the world. It would automatically retract. This is the Airbus. So it's a limitation that is also automatically applied. And we'll fully configure because I don't want to get too close to the plane in front. Right. Tower Manta 275. ILS runway 18, 6 miles.
Manta 2785, Riga Tower, good evening. Wind check 110 degrees at 3 knots, runway 18, continue approach, number 2.
Continue approach 18, Manta 275. So, interesting, we've got a bit of a tailwind here, a bit of a headwind on landing.
Welcome to Riga, make it
Potential for a little bit of a wind change, so a little bit of gain in energy. Not too concerning, but that can be another excuse. Right, let's run that landing checklist. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured for landing. Auto thrusters in speed mode. Go around altitude 2,500 feet set. Eco memo landing no blue. Landing check is complete. Clear to land, runway 18, Manta 275. Taxiway Charlie is closed. 4 people already vacated on it, says misclick. Yeah, we did pick that up earlier. I briefed it all wrong, but yeah, thank you. So we are going to roll along to the next one. Now, it's easy on final approach to do exactly what I'm doing, which you have to stop yourself starting to think too much about this. But yeah, roll along, low water brake, going back on Bravo, not the 90-degree exit. Okay, 1000, we are stable, landing checks complete, and we are cleared to land. Still a bit of a tailwind, it's going to convert into a headwind. Let's give it a go. So, let's bring up that PFD, as we have that luxury, autopilot off. Favourite noise coming up, triple click, absolutely love it, brilliant. The ignition sign tells us that we've got the engines are in ignition mode. They're continuously igniting. It just means they're constantly, basically constantly sparking the fuel just in case it flames out. However, normally the engines are self-sustaining. They don't need that continuous ignition, but it's something we do just because obviously an engine failure now would be pretty bad news. It is on the 80s, yeah. Misclick, yeah, it is easy to miss that. Right, here we go then. Platform landing, wind slightly tailwind. We should see how it goes. Just trying to get it back to 2 whites, 2 reds. Still a bit of a tailwind. Hold it here. There's touchdown. Let's just use idle reverse. Get the nose down so the medium water brake. It will take effect anyway, so you don't want to have the nose up when it does that. Oh, we've got low water brake, sorry, of course. So we're going idle reverse. That was a high speed. That is Charlie.
Manta 275, welcome to Riga, vacate left unable. For your information, Charlie's closed.
Vacate left unable, Manta 275, thank you. Manual brakes. We are basically at taxi speed now, 30 knots, so we can remove the reverse thrust, help us vacate the runway a little bit better. And yeah, here we go. It worked out. A little bit of a float, but heavy airplane, bit of a tailwind, not uncommon to use up a bit more runway. Now let's get off the runway before our colleagues need to land. Oh, we're doing absolutely fine. Again, as always, we do not want to slide ourselves into the grass whilst trying to help out our colleagues behind, because no one will thank us. We'll shut the whole airport and then they'll have to go somewhere else, so they won't thank us either. I'm sure the plane behind would rather go around than have you go off into the grass. Right, let's get ourselves off the runway then. 12 knots, perfectly reasonable. Fantastic. Oh, it's great to be back in the Toliss. It's such a fantastic airplane to fly, and it does feel great in that landing. Really, really nice. Okay, sounds like it worked out on the landing speed or the vertical speed.
welcome to Riga, contact Riga ground 118.8, bye-bye.
118.8, Manta 275. Thanks for your help. Bye-bye. They have been looking after us so well. Really, really massive thank you to all of the Riga VATSIM team who came out for us today. Just brilliant. This is what I love flying to these airports. You so often get such a warm welcome from air traffic control. 1185. And ground, Manta 275, vacated at Bravo. Thanks, John. Glad it worked out. You're very welcome, John. Dave Evans says, nice, you make it look deceptively easy. I just do the same thing every time, and I get a bit of practice. 1185. 1188. That will explain it. That was my mistake. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Ground, Manta 275, vacated.
Manta 275, Riga ground, very good evening. Taxi stand 108 for Foxtrot and Tango.
Foxtrot, Tango, stand 108. Manta 275, thank you so much. Great, so let's work that one out. Actually, as soon as we're clear of the runway, get rid of those strobes. And we'll work it out first, and then we'll figure it out. So, Foxtrot. Up here, there will be a replay, guys, for those of you who would like to see it. Foxtrot, Tango, 108. There it is on the end there. So we're going to head up the main taxiway. Let's go. Let's disarm those ground spoilers, bring all those flaps in, transponder back to transponder, Get the APU up and running. Get rid of those landing lights. There we go. Still a heavy airplane. Captain Zara says 3 a.m. now. I'll go to bed now. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, 320 Simpilot, for that wonderful landing. See you again. Thanks so much, Captain Zara. Thanks for coming along. Bullshit controllers are the best. Yeah, they're great. I agree, Julius. Eboss says, nice stream, man. Thanks. I'll be looking forward to your group flight. Always nice to see you with your community. Yeah, I'm sorry we've missed the group flight. We've been a little bit of a big gap since the last one, so I definitely want to get that on the card soon. So I'll be putting a message out hopefully soon for that one. But yeah, thank you all for coming along. Lauren V says, having a long landing when needing to vacate late isn't the worst thing in the world. No, exactly. No, it's fine. And we'll have a little replay to see what happened. But yeah, we also crossed the threshold high. I noticed the ILS was on profile, but the PAPIs were 3 whites, and the RADOUT didn't say 50 as we crossed the threshold. It said it a bit later, so I think we were actually a little bit high as well. Hello, Van der Veen. Good to see you. Yeah, thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, good night to those of you who've been staying up. Really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for coming along. Right, anything else we need to do? APU is available. We'll probably leave both engines running because we're going to be turning around like that. Brakes are hot. Yeah, they cooked themselves doing that. So it's been a few minutes. We can give the brake fans, imagining we're about to head straight back out again. Great stuff. Weather radar, that's the one. There we go. You know something else. Love it. So thank you again to Wild One Ball and Tom Corwin for these liveries. So Tom did the retro into X-Plane, and Wild One Ball did the ground handling Dulux livery. Neil, glad you enjoyed it, Neil. Thanks for coming along. Weather looks better than UK 2. Yeah, it does. It's warmer here as well. Look at the temperature. 18 out there. And it's later at night as well. Matteo, thanks for coming. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for moderating as well. Sierra. It's 100. Oh, don't tell me we've gone too far.
Riga ground, good evening. Lufthansa A321 vacated via Bravo.
Foxtrot, we're on. Look at the Tango. Should be the next one. Tango, there it is. So I think it's this stand over here. Thanks, Gonzalez. X-Plane has an odd PAPI system. Yeah. Although I noticed both simulators have a very sensitive glide slope in the last part of the approach. Right, here we go then. Tango should be somewhere. Tango's here, yep. Thanks, Adam. So, we are going to do a sharp right turn now. 108 is painted on the ground. I do like the fact that all the airports in X-Plane are just marked up properly. It's just great. Marcel, thank you. Thanks for coming along. That's some tutorial, yes. On the list. Apologies, it's taking time. Santiago Perez, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. Let's get ourselves round onto stands. Turn off those nose lights because we can in X-Plane. The replay function actually is very powerful. AP is available. Brake fans are on. Let's see if we can sort this one out. Looks like a drive on, drive off stand. And that must be 106. So yeah, we've been demoted to a certainly not a jet bridge. We did have guidance, didn't we, in one of the flights not long ago, which was pretty impressive. I think that looks good to me. We're over the lines. So parking brake is set. APU is available. Let's get those engines shut down. All very simple, not like the 7.3. Get some air for the passengers. Seatbelt signs off. Engines have decelerated. Let's turn off the beacon. Right, here's our colleagues all coming in after us. Fantastic news. Thank you all for flying along. Those of you who flew along. Thank you to the moderators, obviously, for coming along and moderating. Thank you to those who've so kindly donated towards the channel. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you to everyone who's just watched along and chatted. Let's go and have the replay, which has immediately disconnected us from the network. I did forget that. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. There we go. So I reckon we crossed the threshold just a little bit high. Let's have a look. It's all pretty stable. Didn't really have to do anything. The winds were so calm. Looks alright. Looks alright. Into the flare. But just a little bit of a tailwind. Heavy airplane, high approach speeds. Bit of a float. Just hold it there. And that's it really. All you can do. Don't want to do too much. Just hold it there. And then I just slightly... You don't want to go fishing by lowering the nose. But I ever so slightly reduced. You can actually see it. So in the flare. And then about here I realised what's going on. Ever so slightly relaxed that nose up I had. Just to let it settle down. Yeah, you could see that. Let's do my favourite view from this, which I spent ages trying to recreate in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Absolutely love this view. There we go. Oh, and this livery looks just brilliant. We've got to enjoy the outside bits, don't we? You can see how fast we're moving with no strong headwinds. There we go. That was too long with the nose wheel. But with low water brake, not such an issue. In my head, we still had medium. But yeah, but still, you don't want to be holding it off. We don't do that. Great. Well, let's pick a nice view. I think we'll go with this one. I will try and get it to a reasonable point on the approach. And then we're going to leave it going. So somewhere there, fully configured. Right, guys, I'm going to say again, so thank you all for coming along. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those really, really kind and generous donations. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone chatting. Thanks for everyone just watching along, even if you're not chatting. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you, of course, to the moderators for taking the time to come along and do the moderating. Right, guys, I'm going to say, as I said earlier, new live stream with a group flight coming soon, so keep tuned to the channel for that. And obviously more videos coming very soon as well. We're going to now say goodbye, so do please keep safe and well. We'll see you again in another of those live streams or videos. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.